Ancient machine spirits, bless this audio board on this day, that you shall not crash, that you shall not lose the audio, that I shall not have to pretend to have a conversation with Danny for the first time. Please take this sacred incense and give to me a quality episode of Mob Rules.
In his name.
In his name.
We pray.
Oh shit, I didn't hit record. Oh man, what do we think of the joke's on you all? One, I haven't figured out a fade out button for this new program that I'm using.
Yeah, it's pretty smooth.
Two, what do you guys all think of that skit?
Oh God. This happens every time you get a new soundboard.
Yeah, you just gotta let it. You just gotta let them roll with it,
right?
Yeah. It's gonna happen.
So sorry for the next few episodes, folks. It's probably gonna be a little rough.
It's a lot like butt sex. You just have to acquiesce and let it happen. All right?
Oh yeah, because it's been so smooth sailing before. That's all I'm gonna say.
I mean, okay, fair.
Hey, welcome to I think an episode of Mob Rules I've been the most hyped for a long time. I've played a bunch. We got a bunch of cool stuff happening. We're talking about some great 40K story today.
Oh, yeah.
And then I think between Dave and I mean, Danny, I can't speak for you, but we've had pretty bad weeks, so we've been looking forward to tonight.
Oh, my God. You have no idea.
Hardcore. So I'm John, joined, of course, by
Danny.
And Dave.
Yep. And, yeah, we are here. This is as cathartic and what's the other word I'm looking for is therapeutic for us as it is painful and irritating to you guys. So thank you for letting us do this here.
I'm just here for the booze.
Hey,
who
isn't trying to drown my week in
Vigilus
peach ale.
Peach ale, yeah.
Vigilus is ablaze, and
Sounded
so is
way less,
Dave.
way more manly in my head when I started that sentence.
Yeah, it goes really well with your bra, Dave.
Oh boy. But yeah. Games have happened. Tournaments have happened. Dave's released like 1 billion videos and things.
Dang.
It's 3 videos.
It seems
that's
like
it was so rough.
Dave, that is
So
three times our monthly output.
I know.
So
Dave, that is an infinite amount of times more than the videos that I have released.
That's not true. You're starring in all sorts of videos.
Oh, I star in videos.
I'm
doesn't create them.
I'm turning you into the Conan O'Brien of the 40K world.
We're gonna promise him a slot in
yeah.
Best in Faction.
Yeah, I was like, dude,
Am
you're
I
gonna be
get
so
fired?
good. We're gonna get you on a real podcast one of these days. Trust us. There's an awesome podcast, I'm sure, that's just waiting for a new host. We'll get you there. Don't worry about it. Mob Rules. It's a training ground.
Yeah, sure.
That wasn't the one I was going for, but it works.
It's so ominous. Neat.
Yeah. So
I know what I've been up to.
What
but
have you been up to,
I want
Dave?
to know what Danny's been up to.
I mean, we all do, but here's the thing.
I have
Here's a little inside baseball right here.
All
Okay?
right.
Danny's thing leads directly kind of into my thing, or my thing leads directly into Danny's thing, depending on how you
And we're
want to
not
look
talking
at it.
about docking.
They are actually talking exactly about that. All right, so
Dave, what have you been up to?
the weeks have blended together, so I'm going to assume since the last time we recorded, I released a few Tabletop Plus videos.
I think,
the
honestly,
Librarian.
I'm not sure.
I can't tell you, to be honest. The days I've lost track of all sorts of times.
Understandable.
I believe the Power Sword video went up after the podcast, as well as the Cloak, which, by the way, shame on GW for lying to us about the colors they used for that.
You're still on this
I still
again.
am. Well, because
come on,
dude, Max Valet, the guy that painted the Librarian, was like, "Oh, I didn't use those colors." I was like,
because he makes his own batch of paint. That's like 17 different paints mixed into one.
It's
it's got like ground heron feathers and stuff in it.
Right, 17 parts Abaddon black,
to 1 part urine. What?
52 parts Stormvermin fur. That's a really weird equation, dude. Wouldn't it just be easier?
Wouldn't it be simpler to do he's like 4 parts Stormvermin 4, 16 parts Administratum Gray. Couldn't you just say 1/4? No. I am the master painter here.
1 to 4.
I decide the ratios.
I put
Just let
in
him have
16 and wrote it down, so trust me, that's how many it was.
Because I used 16 pots of paint.
Yeah, when I read that, I like to imagine there was somebody at GW headquarters just going, somebody get Max on the line. We need to talk to him about that because
we need to teach him basic math.
That wrong.
We don't make that color, so...
What color did you use? Oh, I started with a goblin green base.
Get the fuck out.
Oh, that'd be awesome. If there was like a behind the scenes thing where they're painting every time they do a heavy metal paint job.
30-year-old
like,
paint
so
pots.
good. They got the goblin green brace in place, and in the middle of the night, Duncan's sneaking in, painting them all black. Like, no,
You know what I want to
have
see is I want to see like a behind the scenes GW video of the painters and just have them using like another brand of paint, but it's all censored, like really like
like Japanese porn. All right, so you just mix this pot of.
Do you think they'd censor the miniature too, since it has the paint on it?
Yeah, just the parts, just certain parts
right.
that are blurred out.
they blur the paint on the model.
Yeah.
I wonder if I could do that in Photoshop now that I'm thinking about it.
I mean, it's just simple tracking on Premiere. But yeah, back to Warhammer.
So back to Warhammer. So I released those videos. I'm actually like super stoked happy with the way the librarian turned out.
Yeah.
Sure.
With the exception of realizing that I needed to get my hands on some Iron Hands decals.
Oh yeah, I have some for you.
Yeah. I mentioned it.
Sorry, I forgot.
Because when you listen to this podcast on Saturday, you'll go, damn it, I forgot I was supposed to give Dave Iron Hand decals.
Hey Dave,
like
or was he?
You're
just going to get the iron hand if you keep this up.
It wouldn't be the first time.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't.
So,
we talking about jerking it now?
No,
not the Stranger or Dutch Rudder, the Iron Hand.
Okay, ooh, that's a different move. Look it up. Just Google it. Google image search
with it turned with safe search off. Otherwise, you're going to get something.
Oh, my wife doesn't let me do that.
Googling Dutch Rudder with safe search on. It's just a bunch of boats. Somebody's just really confused. These are really nice looking Dutch guys, I guess. But what does that have to do? But I finished assembling and got base coated all of the rest of the squad that I'm using for replacing my Rusty 17, or was prior to an announcement from Frontline Gaming this week.
Oh,
which made me go.
I mean, I didn't play a sound there because equally it could have been done or badumts.
Yeah.
I mean, it's.
But yeah, no, I converted up a couple of the guys because, as I've said in the previous episode, I personally dislike the lieutenant. So I converted a lieutenant from one of the regular infiltrators.
Oh, okay.
Using a bunch of the parts and lieutenant's gun and stuff like that. I also converted one of the sniper sergeants because I don't like. Not everybody has to be in the same position. You know, when we have multiple sets like that, like I bought a set, you bought a set, John bought a set.
I mean, the same position gets boring.
Right. Yeah, you got to mix it up. I mean,
it's proven effective though.
Can't be on one knee, gun up straight true. Hard just every time. I mean, you gotta.
Whoa,
you know,
dude.
What?
Phrasing.
Okay, sorry. So I converted up one of the sergeants doing something completely different using an actual reaver arm and some easy conversions.
Was he skiing?
No, he was just.
Was he snowboarding?
Maybe.
I mean, you're saying completely different, so I won't go into
right. So I moved the gun around. So the regular sergeant with the sniper rifle is holding it across his chest. Now mine is holding the gun up in the air. His other hand is actually doing the traditional point.
Oh,
because that's how I roll.
Over there, shoot him.
Yeah, shoot over there.
The other guy's like, "What are you fucking doing? You got a gun? Don't point your gun in the air. Point it at the guy.
Shoot over there. I'm shooting the up in the air bullet that arcs up and lands on stuff I can't see. So.
And that's a shot that they have. Yeah. So,
and then I used the Dark Angel Primaris Lieutenant head to make sure that all of my snipers had hoods because I wanted them all to be uniform. Nice. So, feel pretty good about that. I got very frustrated when I was building some of the guys up because I was doing 3 squads of 5 of the infiltrators. And Danny and I split some of the freebies that we got, and Danny took some of the arms that I needed.
I did?
Yeah, you did. I got the arms that you need.
Oh.
Because I went, these arms don't line up.
Good thing you're a master modeler and can make them work.
I'm sorry, I have them in a bag.
No, I just threw them away and bought another set.
That's dumb.
Oh.
No, I didn't throw them away. They're still sitting. But, Yeah, I wouldn't throw those away.
Yeah, people rooting through your trash can now for half models, and then rooting through Danny's trash can for half models, and then they'll get a full model. That's all I got.
So I was waiting for the sound effects.
I was hoping for a sound effect.
Nope,
to follow
there is
that.
none. You guys going to bitch about my sound effects?
We bitch every time about your sound effects. That's never stopped you once.
I've bitched about everything.
That's
Yeah.
fair. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
But I got those. I got those spray painted, and I did my first start of dry brushing on them to make them, because for my easy black that I like to use to get them ironed up. And then rules changed, and now I have to go pure custodes if I want to play custodes. So
How does that make you feel?
kind of hurt me a little bit on the inside, because it just means I have to paint more custodes. They're already built. I just have to paint them. They take a lot longer to paint than Primaris Infiltrators.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? You mean the monocolor guys with like red tabards?
Yeah.
That's what you get
the
for
way
having
that I-
standards, I guess.
Yeah. Well, only because I foolishly master
painted?
Yeah, I master painted a bunch of them to start with for the LVO trip. So now I have to make them all match up to that instead of to this other standard that I was going to go for. Because nobody's going to be able to be like, oh, well, it doesn't look as good as your custodes. I'm like, they're not supposed to look as good as the
That's fine.
custodes.
You're like,
The custodes are supposed to look amazing.
this is the point where I stopped caring.
And I got
You
notification
can
that
literally see it.
my 3 tanks have shipped. I'm so
Fantastic.
excited.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
I am not excited.
I wish I lived in a spot that I could have just walked into Forge World and Bottom, or gone to Adepticon and Bottom, but
I wish you lived in England too, Dave.
or Texas. I could live in Texas. It's where.
I mean, I don't wish that on you. I don't wish. No, I'm kidding.
Are you kidding? They'd be like, "Are you the Four Loco guy? Woo! Let's see you down here." Sorry to anybody who listens to us in Texas, or did until that terrible.
I know I was going to say, if it wasn't
man.
for me saying that I wouldn't wish living in Texas on my worst enemy, your fantastic Oklahoma accent right there probably did it
My
more.
cherry on the top.
What
there.
that is. I don't think that's either of those places.
Fairly
That's from Stereotype USA.
Yeehaw! But that's it. And then I missed out on the tournament this weekend, which makes me very sad. But on the plus side, I did go become a giant woman and got a mani-pedi.
Hey,
With
there is no
mon-
shame in getting a mani-pedi.
I will tell you right now, there is almost nothing more magical than a mani-pedi.
Mm-hmm.
As a
Friendship is more magical.
2,000-year-old being,
Oh shit,
can
he has
tell
an
you.
age now?
2,000-plus-year-old being,
I gotta cut that out. That's
Yeah.
not part of our lore.
it's just I took 4 12-year-olds around for a birthday day. We went and got mani-pedis, and then they went to do a jumping on trampolines. Yeah, it was fun.
I mean, that sounds like a good day. And
It actually was a good day, and
Good job.
we had a really good time.
being a good dad and not trying to kill yourself like Danny and I did.
Yeah,
What a great
True.
segue.
yeah. So you guys tried to kill yourselves.
only slightly.
Hey, so I want to jump in here, Danny, because I think yours is the more exciting one to kind of end on here.
Oh, okay.
So I played 4 games in
As
the
is
last 2
usual.
weeks,
Look at you.
which is, I don't know, look at me go.
Yeah.
I played against our friend Josh,
Yep.
and he was like, "Are you okay if I proxy a bunch of stuff from the new Chaos book?" Because we were playing a game before the Chaos book or Vigilus came out, but I'm like, it'd be great to get some experience against the units and kind of see what they all do. About halfway through the game, I'm like, I'm taking this back. You cannot use any of the new units unless you have the model. Because my god. So I was kind of running my standard Death Guard 2K list, so like lots of Poxwalkers, lots of Plague Bearers, like lots of chaff and a couple of tanks to do all the heavy lifting, and then 3 Obliterators at 115 points each. This is at the old points cost. Came in, and then 1 round of shooting blew up 2 of my tanks. So they killed 2 Plague Burst Crawlers in 1 round of shooting, and I'm like, oh,
Ukes.
yikes!
I
big
was
use.
actually there in the store for that.
I'm like, all right, fuck me then, I guess. I mean, I think there's
That's-
not much you can do to
That's
that.
the screaming I heard coming from John's end of the area he was
I can
playing on one
imagine it's
table.
probably pretty frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, they're super good, and like I said, the scary thing is, like, looking at the rules now, Josh was actually playing about 150 points down.
Yeah, as it reads.
As it reads right now. So I'm like, man. So he had some new Havocs with the chain cannons.
Whoa.
And like when I see things like, so he had a squad of 4 of the chain cannons right into my Plague Bearers. My Plague Bearers were -2 to hit, had a 5 up and vulnerable, and my 5++ disgustingly resilient.
Mm-hmm.
He killed 7 in 1 round of shooting.
Oh,
which
that's not very good.
with 32 shots.
Did he buff him or anything?
Yeah, with buffs. I mean, it's still pretty good.
Yeah.
And then he did, like, the Obliterators did a lot of damage. It was the Lord Discordant, though, that did the most damage out of anyone.
So
Really?
wait. Are you saying that the Lord Discordant, the most crapped on model since it came out and was announced to be 12 wounds, absolutely wrecked face?
Yes.
Well,
I'm
actually really happy with that sound effect.
He was super good. And I said a lot of people, like, they have this kind of black or white view of characters in 40k right now, right? Where if you are under 10 wounds, great, you're awesome, you're amazing. If you're over 12 wounds, you're shit. And it's not accurate at all. And the reason the Lord Discordant did so much damage to me wasn't necessarily what he was doing. Personally, it's the buffs he was handing out to the decimators around him. It was the sheer number of attacks that model throws out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a ridiculous amount. So, I mean, I would say look past the fact he has 12 wounds. Like, if you look at 1/13 of his profile, he is trash. You're right. He's only got 12 wounds.
John, he's got 12 wounds. Why couldn't you target him with all of your firing and bring him down before he got there?
Oh, I could, but he had a Warlord trait on him, which made him take half damage on everything.
Neat.
And he regained a wound every turn.
Yep, that's a rule that he has.
So it's like, yeah, it was real. And Josh played him really well.
Well, obviously, Josh plays everybody really well.
He's, like Rain Man for 40k, but that's good. It was a great game. And then fast forward, we were going to the tournament. And the night before, I started to have kind of doubts if I was going to go or not, because I was like, our local TO ruled that he was going to go by the new Chaos Space Marine book and have Obliterators be 65 points. And it's like, that's stupid and broken as shit. Why would you do that? And then I'm lying in bed and I'm telling my wife this, and she's like, "Oh, what time are you going tomorrow?" I'm like, "Well, I'm not going to go because of this." And she's like, "Oh, you back out at the last minute every time." And I'm like, "Oh man, my wife's calling me now, huh?"
You're turning into me.
Yeah. Don't be a dick.
Yeah.
So I was like, "Nope, I'm going to go."
Hashtag Dave sucks. Don't be a Dave. Come on.
So I went to the tournament that we just had. Had a great time, actually. The first game I played against Andrew, new player.
Yep.
Super new, but was very open about it. We only made it to like turn 3, but I was kind of fine with that because it was a good learning game and it was kind of a good experience for both of us there.
Sure.
Right.
Wasn't obviously the most competitive game, but it was a really good game. Round 2, I played Danny, which we will go into in a little bit there because it was game of the day.
I believe I said it best of.
No, you're welcome.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it was
So I tweeted out that you guys could follow it using the BCP app and see how Donnie. Wow, that four locos really fucking with me right now. John and Danny were doing and track their progress and see their lists. And then I turned around and looked and went, never mind, John's done. He's got to play Danny. His only weakness.
My only weakness, skilled players. And then in round 3, I played against one of our local players, Brian. And the game, I mean, it was good. It was just the what happened is he made like 1 or 2 errors in the first turn, which kind of let me just take over. And what happened was when he noticed that had happened, and then things happened like in dice games, like he shot like 6 las cannons at my thing, and like I made all of my disgustingly resilience from it.
Oh, you're a son of a bitch.
Statistically, that shouldn't happen, right? I understand that, but I mean, it got really got to him.
Well, let's see.
As it was going on, you could tell he was having less and less fun with it. And I'm like, I mean, I'm sorry, man. It's the way the dice go. But I did get to say my single favorite thing I have ever said in any game of 40k ever. So when I deploy my plague bearers, they're table edge to table edge, regardless of the deployment, and I kind of move them up, right? That's just
in a straight line.
In a straight line.
Okay.
So what had happened, because of the way I'd kind of done some shenanigans with psychic powers and with stratagems and everything, I pretty much had like a full 30-man squad turn 2, like right at his deployment zone. So I got to say, I was like, okay, Brian, I was like, I am going to declare a charge with my plague bearers against every single guardsman in your army.
Now, was it plague bearers or
plague bearers?
So
he was like, well, what do you mean? Which ones? I'm like, if it has the guardsman in its name, he's being charged. So I split charged 3 squads of guardsmen, a unit of scouts, a company commander, another company commander, and yeah, I kind of locked down the whole table at that point.
Right.
And then, like, start of his turn 2, he couldn't, like, he had Blood Angels, some guard, and Blood Angels and guard, and he went to put down his Deep Strikers. And, like, I think we've had this conversation as well before, Danny. He was like, if you look over at the board, and there's, like, 100 models on the table, and you can't confidently kill, like, 30 or 40 of those in the first turn, maybe not the best idea to put stuff in Deep Strike Reserve. And what happened was he was going around with a tape measure. The only place he could put his models was on the back line of his deployment zone, all the way along the table.
Yikes.
But it came to a very... So he got super downtrodden, super disheartened. Like when his death company charged in, he did like kill 2 plague bearers. You know, and it's just like, I know stuff like that gets you like super down. Oof. But he was like, I'm going to call it, you win. And this was at the end of turn 2. In my head, I'm going through the next turns. He would have won that game by turn 5.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, but if you're not having fun, why play?
Fair, but I mean, this goes to the point of, like, you shouldn't just give up. Or you shouldn't kind of read the table kind of as it is right there. If you looked at it, if you have a full squad of Sanguinary Guard and a full squad of Death Company and a Librarian Dreadnought with some weird-ass jump pack on it, untouched and unharmed, and all I have is Poxwalkers and Plague Bearers, you can disengage from combat. You can move up the table. Right. Blood Angels have stuff that make that super easy, and you could have wrecked my face really, really easily.
Yeah.
So I ended up finished 7th overall for the day. I went like 2-1. I don't think I would have ended as high if it had just been played to the end. But to your point there, Dave, if you're not having fun, don't play.
Yeah, I mean, I've been in situations like that where you just are like, please, just let this game end. You know,
sure,
wipe me out. I had a game where I had 3 models left and I just didn't want to play anymore, so I charged them into the Hellblasters. And I was like, I'm charging the Hellblasters. Oh, why would you do that? I get free rerolls, and you've only got...
Because I want this to end.
Yeah, I didn't say that, but in my head, was that mantra of, I just want this to be over, and I can't bear watching you move around the board in order just to kill me with your Hellblasters that are sitting literally 6 inches away from my guys.
Right.
I'm just gonna go ahead and charge in, and I made the charges with all of them, and he managed to kill one of the 3 models, and the other 2 get into combat and kill like 2 Hellblasters. I was just the most whiff I've ever seen, just like, ha-ha! Oh, nuts. And he immediately turned around and stomped them, and I was like, well, good game. You win.
And he's like, get a beer.
He's like, why would you do that? I was like, I couldn't win, and, you know, like, I'm so far behind on points, and this game could have drug out so you could try to eke out more extra points in certain ways, and that it was the smartest move for me to deny you as much points as I possibly could.
Sure.
So
yeah, that's fair. Oh, and I bought a Knockleth crown, and it's an amazing model.
It's huge.
Twice the size I thought it was. I need another one, especially with kind of the changes to the way factions work and the way we play the game up here.
Sure.
I definitely sort of need another one now. But yeah, aside from that, I didn't really get up to much. Midterms.
It's like as tall as a knight.
Dude, yeah. I mean, not quite. I don't know. There's a knight over there.
It is. There's a knight right over there.
Let's see. This is great radio. I'm a huge fan of when we do stuff like this.
I'm going to throw Eldar.
It's way taller than a knight.
That's where they belong.
Yeah, on the ground.
Oh, shit. It is way taller than a knight.
So, yeah, it looks like the knight is peering through it like peekaboo.
Or if you stood the knight on it, he could just try to be
if he assaulted,
look at that.
He's going to blow it up.
There you go. So, Chaos players, you can hide a knight behind the Knockleth crown.
Give it a 5+ invulnerable save.
Ugh. Disgusting.
Beautiful. Resilient. But yeah, that's about all I've done. Danny, what have you been up to in the past 2 weeks?
Mold lines look like shit, though, John. Let's get on that.
Assembled it in 30 minutes because my last game finished super early.
So on that note, let's see here. Let's see. I'm trying to think here. The weekend before the event, I think I was gonna play. I was gonna play a game with John, like we talked about.
That Monday before, yeah.
And I ended up having to cancel because I'm a massive bitch.
That's okay. I played Josh instead.
That's okay. He actually took.
Would you have run like the same kind of list that you ran on Saturday?
No, because I probably would have. Because I went through like 20 lists at the last minute trying to figure out what I was going to take.
I know, like, Danny sent out a message like the night before in a group chat, and he's like, "Hey, John, can I borrow like 4 Eldar flyers from you?" And I'm like, "Sure, man." And in my head, I'm like, "I don't want to fucking go through my stuff."
And then you changed your mind to run Tyranids.
Yeah, so I ended up playing main faction Tyranids. I played High Fleet Leviathan, and then I had also a lot of Genestealer Cult. So I had like 750 points of Tyranids, and then like 1,250 points worth of Genestealer Cult.
How are you not main faction Genestealer Cult then?
Because my largest attachment was Tyranids.
Old faction rules.
So that's how that worked previously.
I thought it was most numerous amount of faction, but okay, that's all right.
Yep. So I had, let's see here. So I had a Leviathan battalion. I had 2 Neurothropes, Old One Eye, 3 units of 25 Termagants, and 1 unit of 20 Termagants. And then I had 2 Twisted Helix Genestealer Cult battalions. I had a Patriarch, an Icon Ward, a Magus, and a Primus. 2 units of 15 Acolytes with 3 Rock Saws and Banners.
Neat.
4 units of Neophytes with just Lasguns. And then I had a unit of 10 Aberrants with 8 picks and 2 stop signs. A Clamavis, a Nexos, and a Biophagus. Yep, that's the list.
Okay.
So,
or if you want to actually see what the list really was, since
yeah, check it out.
You can check it out on BCP.
Yeah, for sure. So like the idea is that it has a ton of board control, and then at the end of the game, if your opponent gets into your lines, you can just deep strike in a bunch of stuff to destroy whatever comes in there, because the Genestealer Cuff stuff just hits so hard.
Oh, it does it? I didn't know. No idea.
So, then I also wanted to play with Old
That's
One
where
Eye.
Where's the sad trombone?
I was going to say,
soundboard?
I'm really sad I don't have a sad trombone nose. All right, hold on to that thought. Keep talking, Danny.
Okay.
I'm going to go on the internet for no reason.
It's definitely not to search for porn. If that queues up, it's blurred. Just know it's blurred out. It's Japanese, so it's fine.
Oh.
So I played kind
Blurred
of
out sound? Isn't that just white noise?
Yeah, it seems legit.
Yeah.
So game 1, I ended up playing against Tyranids and Genestealer Cult.
Oh.
Except he had like the more typical like net list kind of. He had a couple of units of 16 Genestealers with the Swarm Lords, so we could double move them.
Great guy,
It's all
amazing
cracking.
player, and you. But
Yeah, sure. So and then
and all that.
well, yeah, and I'll talk about
There's
that.
been so many sad trombone effects that I could have done right here.
Go with one that's in jazz.
And he had a big unit of Aberrants. He had the Kellenmorph. He had a bunch of characters. More like he had 2 Patriarchs. I don't know about that.
Whoa.
He had a big unit of Hive Guard. Anyway, so I kind of set up. But I made a couple of mistakes during deployment. I lost my Nexos on the first turn before I really got to use him. So that was my CP regen was kind of sad. And I just deployed badly. So that's my fault.
How else did you deploy badly in that game, Danny?
I also forgot to deploy Old One Eye. So I played 200 points down.
What?
Yeah, I forgot to deploy him.
So you.
And so my opponent said on turn 1, at the end of turn 1, said, "Hey, you forgot to deploy Old One Eye." And I said, "Oh, yeah, sorry, he's dead." So he's like, "Yeah, that's pretty much true." I said, "Okay." So
That's fair.
So he told me,
Is that a rim shot?
"No, Dave, that's different than what your mom does." All right. So anyway, moving on. So that game, he got into the Genestealers pretty quickly. I killed 1 unit with Termagant fire and like assaulting with weird stuff. Like I ended up killing 1 unit that way. Then he sent in the other unit, and I bogged him down with more bodies. It was basically so many bodies that he was so concentrated on my side of the board that my Aberrants came in and swept up the entirety of his army pretty much.
Well, that's so weird. That's a tactic you can use?
Yep, totally it is.
So you backdoored him with Aberrants.
So they killed in one battle round. They killed the Hive Guard and Swarm Lord when he charged me.
There it is.
Yeah. So we only got to turn 3, and I tried to like maybe I told him one of the things that he could work on because I was timing my turns. and I told him maybe he should work on maybe playing it a little bit faster.
Yeah.
And I told him that if we were to play again, I would definitely be using a chess clock. So I don't want to seem like I was salty about only getting to turn 3, but but my army like kind of sucks in the first 2 turns and then turns it around and wins. So that's when I'm losing is turn 1 and 2.
It kind of drops you down points wise as well overall, I think, right?
Yeah, but
right.
I think that panned out for you because in your round 2 you played some scrub that barely managed to win in its first round. So.
Well, yeah, I might have won against my second round opponent.
I won handily in my first round.
He
I'll
did.
have you know.
Yeah, he did good.
Yeah, I mean that's
in a way that was still fun for my opponent, but
Yeah.
also incredibly frustrating, which is the entire point of my army list, is to be incredibly frustrating.
Yep. So
you
I
won
played-
round 1,
Yep.
19-13.
Right. So then in the interlude,
In the
between
interlude.
round 1 and 2, we had our quote unquote lunch break. Yeah, this is really appropriate music here. So we had a tip from one of our listeners about a drink called an 11 Loco.
I'm sorry. Tip.
Pro tip, I would say.
Pro tips.
If you will.
Pro tip.
And so the 11 Loco is where you mix a 5-hour energy drink and a 4 Loco and drink them both at the same time
Why
to
wouldn't
double
that be
down
a
the effort.
9 loco? We've
I don't
had
know.
this conversation.
It doesn't matter. The math is not important.
The math is not important.
If you're thinking about the math, you're thinking about it too hard.
Your odds drastic go up
I'm usually too hard.
when you drink 11 Loco.
How your wife says. Anyway, so the
So the 11 loco went
Yes.
off at the interlude during lunch.
Yep, I filmed it, put it on our Patreon site of Danny just, pounding that 11 Loco like it's
Like Danny just pounded 11
Neglectant
as hard as he could.
that's pretty good. Yeah, so I slammed I slammed like half of it down, and then I slammed the other half down like a minute later, and it was like a brick in my stomach. So I'm feeling pretty jolly round 2. And of course I learned that and John drinks his. John does a respectable amount.
I do, and then I give it away because it's just god awful.
It's too much. It's a lot.
Well, didn't you choose like grape flavored
Also
5-hour energy as
Also,
well?
I decided to park like right on the street and not behind the building like I should have.
Yeah, that would have been a better move.
Yeah, we know for next time.
Yeah, for sure. The next time we're gonna drink in public.
We're gonna do an 11 Eckies.
Gross. Or is that where we just drink 11 Dos Equis?
Yes.
Ugh.
Nice.
Oof.
I'll get the beer bong. All right, so so I find out my round 2 opponent is John, and immediately the shit talk begins.
It was so good.
And so at the start of this round, we had a good 1/2 hour of just absolute shit talk the entire time. And so it's so much where our opponents, or not our opponents, but the people in the tournament like around us are like,
Hey guys,
turned around and like, are you guys okay? Like
to the point where a judge, our friend, got called over to the table by others to make sure we're good.
Yeah. Like, and he gets there and he gets uncomfortable and leaves.
I don't remember because we were both drunk, but I don't remember exactly what it was we were saying to each other. But it was filthy.
Oh, yeah,
it
it
was
was-
insulting. It was disgusting.
I was so glad I wasn't at this tournament because
Yeah.
you guys would have been shit talking me. I wouldn't even have been your opponent.
Yeah, probably.
And we both like raised each other up. Yeah, and if you were there and it was me playing Danny, we both would have just turned our fingers on you. But that's like the single like most fun half hour of Warhammer that day was when I just shit talked Danny the whole time and he shit talked back.
I did.
Yeah,
And
it was good.
So I convinced John in his deployment to deep strike his Blight Lords.
Bastard.
I actually thought it was a good move based on the secondaries that he had picked.
Yeah.
It probably was, but John was too drunk to realize it. At the time.
They weren't great secondaries. I mean, they could have been, but again, Danny does one or two things that were just fantastic moves, which kind of really locked in the outcome really early on.
So I set my Termagants up in a way that basically, because it's 95 of them, and so I blocked off my entire deployment zone with those and 40 neophytes. So, like, John had recon.
Yep.
And
No way I'm getting that.
yeah, he did not get recon this game. So part of it was
I mean, you didn't do that good against John. It was only a 35-13 win.
One of those spoilers, Dave. Jesus.
no, I mean it wasn't. I mean, well,
one of those things was I made a couple of mistakes. I could have got a couple points of recon by moving some stuff in certain ways and kind of having more trust in my thing's abilities to survive against things like gaunts
Right.
and stuff like that. Whereas I think I'm still in that Eldar mindset of as soon as my stuff touches other stuff, it's going to fall apart.
Like those Terminators didn't die. I mean, I wasn't going to kill them all game. So
That's fair.
excuse me. So on turn 2, I brought in John. Like he said, had his Plague Bearers stretch from like table edge to table edge, pretty much. But he got about maybe 8 inches away from the table edge on one side.
So he grabbed his Plague Bearers and just spread them wide.
I brought in the Aberrants, and the Aberrants charged both the Plague. They got a perfect ambush with a 5-inch move before they got in.
Now, did you get to use your favorite saying of all time in 40K, which is "I'm charging all of your Plague Bearers"?
I mean, that's not as impressive as multi-charging an entire army at once.
I did charge all of his Plague Bearers.
Yeah, all one unit of
all
them.
one unit.
Still holds true.
And I charged them, and I charged 1 unit of Poxwalkers, and I killed, I think, 20 Plague Bearers or more.
Yeah.
In one round, and all of the Poxwalkers with 1 unit of Aberrants.
And a lot of the only reason the Plague Bearers survived is I had some very good, disgustingly resilient rolls on them. That is like literally the only reason, because Danny kind of piles in with these Aberrants. I'm like, okay, cool, we'll tank some of these, and then
his Plague Bearers are -2 to hit, so like
yeah. So I'm like, okay, I'm -2 to hit. I have my invulnerable, my disgusting. I'll tank some of these, and try and maneuver my Terminators to kind of come help, right? That's when Danny's like, oh, I'm hitting on 2s, re-rolling. Oh, and my stop sign means I have like 20 hits from these guys that wound you on 2s. Oh, and I'm re-rolling those too. And then, all these guys have claws as well.
Right.
And it's just like, it is just the weight of dice that
insane.
One unit gave was insane.
So the Biophagus gave them +1 attack, and I got Might from Beyond off on them. So they were, the guys with picks had 8 attacks each, and the stop sign guys had 10 attacks each.
Yeah.
I mean,
and I fought twice with them.
And I'm never going to not shoot at Aberrants ever now. That is going to be like number 1
oh
target.
God, really? You didn't even shoot at them?
I don't have guns. What guns do I have?
Okay, well then you are going to.
He came in from Deep Strike.
You in fact are going to not shoot at them
guns.
again next time.
No, I'm just gonna leave him a freaking hole the size of your mom.
And yeah, and that.
Yes,
and that just tore that flank wide open. So I was able to get them and the Patriarch and that kind of stuff into the Plague Bearers crawlers.
Yep.
And they just wreck shop on them.
Oh yeah.
All right, so let me get this straight. John deployed his Plague Bearers spread wide open.
Mm-hmm.
You charged in with your Aberrants
and in just with a stop sign.
Absolutely wrecked him hard with a stop sign. Full stop sign.
Full stop sign.
So what my thinking was on this is I had him stretch, like I had my Plague Bearers stretched all around the front, and Danny takes old One Eye and charges him like right towards my front line.
Like you do.
And I'm like, okay, well,
when he killed a unit of Nurglings on the first turn, that was like his cool thing that he did.
He killed a unit of Nurglings.
That's pretty impressive.
That's the cool thing that he did.
But so I was like, I have to take care of him. So I charge him to kind of keep him tied up and save my tanks is kind of what I'm thinking here. Otherwise, he's going to run through everything, right? But in doing that, and with follow-ups and pylons, it opened up this hole over here to kind of give the space for the Aberrants to come in. And when the Aberrants come in, they just, they did what Aberrants did and just wrecked face.
Yep.
All right.
So it wasn't pretty.
So it was a pretty close game, though, judging by the score of what was it again?
I mean, John still got points.
I feel 13 is a good loss. Like, I still got my points. I still kind of worked for what I had.
You were holding stuff every turn. There wasn't as much killing.
No.
You killed a lot of models.
I killed a ton of models, but I couldn't get a full unit to save my life.
Did you fire everything at that full unit?
Yeah, everything I had at that model.
And so Mental Onslaught this game claimed 1.5 Plague Bearers crawlers.
Yep. And that psychic power is
it's broken
as shit.
Yeah.
Like when Danny can get a combo off, and this is nothing against Danny here because it's in the game. But like
it's
when
okay.
he's like,
you can have it.
It was pretty bullshit, dude. Yeah. No
when he's like, okay, I've cast this power, so my guy's leadership 13, your guy's leadership 7, your tank is leadership 7. There is literally no number you can roll that will stop this from happening. Your tank's removed.
Even though it can save wounds from disgusting resilient or whatever else,
it would just be like an infinite time wasting circle.
Well, because isn't it? So don't you actually have to do the mortal wound in order to have it continue?
Nope.
Okay.
I just have to not have the dice roll fail.
Yep. So that was
Well, I then to be a dick, I would have fought it and rolled a disgustingly resilient every time. Nope. Do it again.
No, but the way I was rolling
Nope.
sometimes.
Do it again.
But no, it was like for me a super good game to learn. You could kind of see some of the remorse behind Danny's shark-like eyes, like later on in the game.
That's exactly what my eyes look like.
Are you sure that wasn't just 11 Loco?
But like I said, I learned a lot, which
I wouldn't throw it out.
Unfortunately for my third round opponent, I kind of played into when I was like, okay, I'm going to make sure that like all of these is locked up. So like from that game, I learned to make sure that the table was locked up entirely and nothing could kind of come in if I didn't want it
Exactly.
to. So, I mean, there's stuff to win or there's stuff to learn and crushing defeats.
No, and
So-
like I learn the most from when I lose like that. Like
just-
that's the most valuable game to me.
Just doesn't learn
So you
very
haven't
often.
learned anything since 2007 then? Is that what you're saying?
Well, let's talk about Vegas again.
Okay. I don't count Vegas. You were drunk that whole time.
Okay, sure. Yeah, I was. No, I totally was.
So yeah, but like I said, it was a great game. And I think the highlight was we were finished. And I think we did like 5 rounds. I think we made it
You were
to.
No,
very-
we did 6.
We did 6 rounds?
We
You
did
did
everything.
the,
We
you did the
finished.
entire game.
We finished it. So we finished 6 rounds. Between the two of us, we had 250 models. And we,
More than that, man.
More-
I had 200 models.
You had 200 models. I had 110. So like over 300 models. Yep. We spent 1/5 of our time shit talking each other without touching a model.
Right.
And we still got through 6 rounds.
Yeah, I don't know that you actually even played this game, to be honest. It's not like you were both so drunk that it just played out in your heads and nobody touched anything.
we just made up a
models,
story.
Models never even
Yelled
left
at each other
Models never
for
even
2
left the
hours.
tray. You were like, I'm deploying this now. I'm deploying
We're
this.
like, hey Nate, Danny won. Like, you guys haven't even fucking started yet. Whatever. We'll put in the scores. It's fine. It's fine.
Danny just beat me 35-13. It was brutal, but I've learned so much. I'm never going to lose that way again.
Learned so much.
Nate's sitting there still giving out pairings.
Papa Bear come home.
Hilarious. All right. So game 3, I play against my traditional prey at ITT tournaments, which is John
I think you
Miller.
mean your perennial opponent.
Sure, whatever.
John Miller, who, by the way, I also said in our message chat when I saw that you were playing John, I was like, oh no, John's only weakness, Danny.
Yeah, so John's a great player. John plays primarily Blood Angels,
Yep.
and he's been playing Blood Angels. He's been like number 1 or number 2 in the ITC for 2 years running now.
Yeah.
With Blood Angels, so he has like a favorite faction, and really sticks with it.
He's really good at it too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he is. Miller's actually
Yeah.
very good, and he's actually really good to play against and learn against.
Sure.
When the last time I played against Miller, which was the first time, we had a great game. It was very close, and we discussed, after we finished round 6 and it was over, we discussed it and how both I was like, yeah, you messed up in these situations, and this is where I messed up. Like he was also open to it, even though he won. He was like, oh, you're right, I did. So
He asked me for some list critique afterwards too, which was good. So
did you tell him Blood Angels are garbage and throw it away?
no,
I think my favorite part from your guys' match was when you offered to buy him a drink, and he said, "No, I'm good." And I turned around because you were at the table next to us, and I said, "Are you sure you don't want to get something from this game, John?"
or when they announced, or when I looked at pairings, and I asked him if he was just going to whine about our game, or if he was going to play, which is great. He laughed. I mean, we do quite a bit of shit talking as well.
Yeah.
So John had a Blood Angels primary, so he had a Blood Angels battalion, 3 units of scouts. 3 units of scouts, a big unit of Sanguinary Guard, the Sanguinor, jump back chaplain.
Are you sure any of that's right? I'm looking at his army list right now on BCP.
Just
It's
looks
just
like
a
Scarlett
picture
Johansson.
of Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah,
So
well, that's his thing.
yeah.
Then he had a Flesh Terror's Spearhead. He had Gabriel Seth. He had a unit of Devastators, a unit of Aggressors, a Leviathan Dread.
ooh, aggressors are new
3 Aggressors.
since the last time I
He's
played
been
him.
playing some Aggressors.
Yeah.
And he had a Whirlwind. Oh, and the Blood Angels detachment also had a Librarian Dread.
The Whirlwind is also new. Then.
As is tradition.
And finally, he had a Guard Acadian Loyal 32 battalion with a Lord Commissar instead of
that
one
is
of the dudes.
very much new since the last time I played
Nah,
him.
he's
then.
been
He's
playing
been
with
doing,
Acadians
yeah.
No, I
a
mean
lot.
since the last time I played against him.
Oh,
he
so
did not have that.
5
yeah.
years ago when you played in the
Wasn't
tournament?
that?
last?
Yeah, that's what it was. Back before detachments.
6 years ago, before he had to get a mani patty every Saturday.
I played in December against him actually.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he's been rocking the Guard quite a bit. Anyway, so we got pointy hot dog deployment. That's pointy Donafor.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, yes. Pointy hot dog.
Yeah, if you fold the table like a hot dog, it helps me. I don't know, it helps me to remember that stuff. So I can't explain it.
I don't want you to, so we're good.
It's like, or if you get pointy hammer and anvil, then it's pointy hamburger. Anyway,
I mean, sure.
yeah,
Nothing
okay.
to see here. Move along.
So
Move along.
we set up. I set up pretty much all my guns kind of on the line because I feel like I'm going to be kind of aggressive, which may have been a mistake, maybe not. Oh, his guard detachment also had a wyvern, and that becomes important because he has an artillery company, so
Right.
his wyvern shoots twice. Yeah, that thing sucked because he get aerial spotters on it the first turn and got to reroll to hit and wound rolls on it, and that thing cleared out a lot of gaunts. So he killed one unit of 25 gaunts, did a bunch of damage to another unit, and killed 8 out of 10 neophytes out of another unit. So it was a good turn for him. He did a bunch of damage. So on my first turn, I was like, all right, well, I'll just soak up stuff. I'll try and get in there. I didn't kill anything, didn't do anything, just kind of move forward. Then his turn, he shot some more stuff, killed another unit of 25 gaunts. And then on my turn, I brought in everything but the aberrants and I guess the characters and one unit of acolytes is what I brought in.
So you didn't bring in the aberrants with the biophages?
No, I waited.
Excuse me.
The biophages stayed in reserve as well.
Okay.
So I did some creative stuff, and I got to tie up one of the guard squads with my acolytes, and they also totally murdered all of the what are they called? The dudes with all the bolters, the aggressors. Yeah.
Space Marines?
Yeah, those guys. So the acolytes murdered them with rock saws. Just the rock saws by themselves killed all of the aggressors.
Well, rock saws are brutal weapons.
They're real good.
Yeah, they're good against high value, high toughness, high armor targets. So,
yep,
good call.
And then the patriarch used mental onslaught and killed the Leviathan Dreadnought.
Oh no! I think there's a sound effect that would belong here, but
yep. I was like, I put the horror on him and then did it, and it was like, okay, well, you're a difference of 6, it just dies.
Not justifying that with the sound effect, that's for sure.
Yeah, he was pretty bummed.
You don't have
that.
a cheering sound effect right there?
Well, I got one here.
Okay.
That's what happened to his dreadnought.
And so he tried to bring he did bring. He brought Seth and the Sanguinary Guard over. Yeah, that's a long effect, man.
Yeah, holy cow.
He brought Seth and the Sanguinary Guard over, and they totally cleared out all the acolytes, which, fair enough, that's how that works. Then I countered with my aberrants. The aberrants came in and killed the Sanguinor, the Chaplain, and all of the Sanguinary Guard.
Oof.
In one swing.
And the Librarian Dread had already sprinted across the table, right?
Oh, yeah, the Librarian Dread. Did you see that part? Oh, okay. I don't remember. If
I had cucumbers on my eye during that part.
That's cute.
The librarian got to seem younger.
So I did this cool trick with Old One Eye where I ran up and killed a scout squad in cover because he thought they were safe behind a wall, but they were within an inch of the wall. So I came in, wiped out the scout squad with Old One Eye, and then I did overrun.
So you blasted some scouts with your Old One Eye?
That's right.
Okay.
I blasted the shit out of him. And then I used overrun to run back behind my gaunt screen. And so he had to bring the Librarian Dreadnought over with Wings of Sanguinus, charge into him, failed to kill him, which was great.
I could see the Four Locos not agreeing with you either.
Sorry, just a good burp.
Yep.
And then it's a safe burp. There's nothing else coming up with that. So the Librarian Dreadnought went into Old One Eye, did 8 out of 9 wounds. And then I said, okay, my turn. And I swung back and killed him. And then he what did he do? So then he fought again. He spent the CP to fight again to kill One Eye with his Librarian Dread. Which, fine, whatever. That is a trade. I wasn't super happy about that trade, and I could have played it a little bit better to block off that charge, but that's okay. That was my mistake.
It's fine.
Anyway, Aberrants came around. I started clearing stuff off, and that kind of was the end of the game. He killed my other unit of Acolytes, but I was able to get recon every turn. I started cleaning up on behind enemy lines, so I think I got 3 points for that. So it ended up being like 29 to 25, something like that.
26 to 18.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
Still pretty close though.
I'm using my subscription with the BCP app to check the scores from the previous tournament.
Sorry, I'm a little upset with him right now because my subscription's not working.
Oh no!
Oh.
So I don't know what's going on with that. That's okay.
I know someone you can talk to. About that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's John.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just going to be like, suck it up,
How's it
Buttercup.
going?
Yeah.
So that ended the tournament. I think because I only got 19 points the first round, that really limited like who I was playing against. So I wasn't playing on the upper tables. I was kind of playing from below and submarining.
You're welcome.
Thanks, John.
Is it called submarining if you both take the same amount of alcohol? In fact, actually,
Danny drank more.
if one person takes less, yeah.
So I ended up in second place with 3-0 record. So that was decent. I mean, I was happy. I was pretty happy with that.
So when third round was going on, I was actually sitting there doing some sort of weird March Madness shit where I was mathing out how many points you would have to beat Miller by in order to take first over Josh Hunter, who won with pure custodes, actually, which surprised me and makes me go, well, I need to reevaluate my life choices because
Josh is very, very good with custodies.
Well, I think his list was very powerful, actually. He didn't use any tanks. He did have a ton of dreadnoughts, however.
I think my list would be really, really good against that.
Yeah.
Because my list is really good at killing elite things.
Yeah, and he had
lots of those.
Almost.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it turns out.
Who is it? Who knew?
Yeah, I can actually pull up his list if he had it loaded.
Okay. Okay, here's the sound of a banana being slapped against someone's face.
Ooh, let's hear it.
Ooh. Oh, he didn't have it loaded.
Yeah, there you go.
Is that's a banana?
Can I get those 5 seconds of my life back?
Are you
please?
watching this? Like
No,
a video
this is
happening?
I added all these buttons. These are part of our.
Are
feed
you
I don't
watching it?
believe
What
that's
sort
an
of
actual
stuff?
banana. I think it's something else.
Well, it is.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
It's the sound of thunder.
But hey, the sound of thunder reminds me. That is not a minute and a half long. Holy crap! Let's not press that one again. Reminds me that it's time for us to take a break.
Yep.
We are going to be right back with stuff and possibly things.
Dude, I'm the best. I took first place at another tournament.
First off, stop with the thunder and lightning. You don't impress me. And second, let me check out the BCP rankings. And I don't see you on there.
What?
Your TO needs to download the Best Coast Pairings app and run events on it. After the event, the results are uploaded into BCP rankings, and the best part, it's easy and free.
But I play multiple game systems.
No big deal. The BCP app can be used for any game. A ton of events every weekend are using it, from major international tournaments to local stores. And now that it's available on Android devices, you're going to have some serious competition.
There can be only one.
BCP Rankings is a fun and exciting way to measure how you or your team stack up. No matter what you play, your score goes to an overall ranking. Or compete to be the best in a game, a circuit, a region, or the world.
Download the app or visit www.bestcoastpairings.com for more info.
Best Coast Pairings.
Are you the best?
I mean, twist offs less satisfying.
Way less
Yeah.
satisfying.
I was gonna say there.
Oh no!
But it does say.
I didn't grab a new one during the break. All right.
Go grab a beer. I'll set this up here. They won't even notice you're gone.
They never do.
Hey, so before we go into talking about kind of like
Sad plodding away sound effect.
I'm just going to turn down his microphone. Before we go into talking about
Finally.
kind of what's happening with Vigilus Ablaze and kind of what's going on in the world of Vigilus and with Abaddon, we're going to talk about there's been kind of a really big change in the way we play 40K up here. Up here in Alaska, we mainly play using the ITC, which is the independent tournament circuit run by Frontline Gaming. Their kind of rule base and how they describe things, and pretty much everything we do is a way to get really cool fake internet points.
Yeah, those fake internet points, man.
Yeah, go Mr. 1052 over here.
Look at you.
Yeah. Little Mr. One Place Ahead of Miller. You're super good in that. But what they've done recently is this major change, because recently everyone's running some form of soup. I know, Danny, on Saturday when we played in the tournament, you had a soup with Tyranids and Gene Stealer Cult and a little bit of guard, would you say?
No, I didn't have any guard.
Okay. But it's still soup. I had like a Nurgle demons, and I had like a demon detachment and a Death Guard detachment. Dave, you were talking earlier about how you're doing like the Rusty 17 to kind of buff up some of your custodies. So soup has been a part of our lives for a long time, and there's kind of a move away from that. I mean, they're still represented, and we'll go into it a little bit here.
Well,
but
So nothing really changes for what's legal, right?
Oh yeah,
No,
all the
yeah,
armies
nothing-
are still
yeah,
the
they're
same.
all still
It's
legal.
just we're all fighting for different internet points
And
now.
soup, is one of those things where I believe that soup is perfectly fine and in fact perfectly fluffy, because if you read lots of lore and you have Space Marines fighting alongside Imperial Guard, and you have Ynnari teaming up with regular Eldar and even Dark Eldar to take on like a Gene Stealer converted cult Eldar and other stuff like that. When you read these books, you see all that stuff. So I feel like soup is 100% fluffy. However, I do feel that playing mono codex is 1,000% harder than playing soup, because you can you can cherry pick the best units from soup and make yourself a really delicious soup.
Yeah, true.
As opposed to just having bouillabaisse mixed with water, which while nutritious and keeping you alive,
It looks really good, right?
no, it really doesn't.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
you need to update your metaphor and get something that looks really good but isn't quite as palatable and easy on the palate.
All right, how's this for a metaphor? So you've got stone soup, where a guy takes a stone and throws it into a pot, and then everybody brings over a bunch of really delicious stuff and adds in, and turns it into delicious soup, as opposed to just being a rock in water. Which is terrible. So,
But yeah, what do you tell us some more about it, Danny, here?
So basically, what they've done is they have made it so that
is delicious.
if you bring if you want to go for best in faction, whereas previously your army faction was determined by your largest detachment, now in order to qualify for actually being like getting points under one particular faction, you have to play entirely that faction with a few exceptions. So you don't have to count summon models. You don't have to count. Model, or if you're playing AdMech, you can bring one knight as an auxiliary super heavy,
because it's in the codex.
right? But that lets you use the knight codex.
Okay.
It's because it's kind of within the Knight Codex, there's entire Mechanicus pledged houses.
Right.
So it makes kind of sense for them to be a part of that.
Sure, but you can bring an Imperial House if you want to.
You shouldn't be able to, but you can.
Yeah.
And then if you're playing Gene Stealer Cult, you can bring one Brood Brothers detachment.
Yeah. But then again, Brood Brothers are actually in, the detachment. So
Right.
Or in the codex to some degree.
So what this means in a nutshell, right, is that it's going to be... So first of all, any points that you've accumulated towards your best in faction goal already are still going to count. So there's been 2 months of people, plus this weekend, of people playing soup armies, and they're going to get counted for best in faction. I don't know if I like that a ton.
I'm not a fan of that.
But
actually,
I don't know how they're going to go back and fix
Well,
it.
just wipe it
Yeah.
and start over.
Well, you can't
it's-
start because the season's
No,
already
that's,
started.
Well, but you
that's
could-
not right either.
Yeah, I mean,
So they
keep your overall scoring for your placement as far as
but there's
rankings, but
that doesn't work within their system. There's no good
know.
way to implement this
Yeah.
after
And
the
this-
season starts.
Right, and that's the problem, is it happened after the season started. And so Reese says it didn't really show up on his radar until after LVO, which understandable. That's probably when people are
which
going
is
to
the last event of the season.
Right. So literally the new season starts that same weekend.
Right.
Because they have events there for the new season that you can play in. Now, I think it's good for encouraging diversity. I'm worried, though, that what's going to... Oh, also, there's a few other combined factions, so you can still play for Best in Faction for Eldari, for Chaos, for Imperium, and for Tyranids as a super faction.
Right.
And you can play for Best Nurgle, Khorne, Slanesh, and Tzeentch.
Yeah.
So your whole
keyword.
army has to share that keyword in order to qualify for that stuff.
So it just makes my my wanting to play Brazen Beasts even more. Because nobody's gonna be going for the Khorne faction keyword.
Well, what if I
no.
want to play Slanesh Brazen Beast, Dave?
Well, you'd be a monster and wrong, based solely off the fluff, sir. Where's that salt noise? Throw it at me. I need.
I think that's just the Dave.
I hope you understand how I'm feeling now after hearing that salt noise, Danny.
That's the Dave
You
noise.
understand how Danny and I feel after you.
Yeah. But I mean, it allows and that's not saying that people will just start doing this. People who play ranked, who score really high and are in the running for best overall top ranking, are not going to be playing these mono factions. They're just not going to also be earning them. No, there's no maybe about it.
I don't know. I could see somebody who's really good, like maybe sticking with a mono faction army.
But you're not going to take first place.
If you were best in faction Death Guard last year, why wouldn't you want to try and defend your title this year? Some changes.
Right. I'm just saying that the best in faction Death Guard last year could also have been the best in faction or the top winner overall because of the way it was previously. But with the way this is now, if you were running just mono guard or mono codex Death Guard, even though you're still able to take forge roll models and some other stuff like that, the odds of you scoring as well and winning tournaments against anybody else that is playing the soup lists is much less. You know what I'm saying? It's a much higher skill. You're playing at a much higher skill level to play a single codex.
Yeah.
And you could be the best person on the face of the planet, but if it's a bad matchup because you don't have the other pieces in order to, it's like playing chess with just pawns and a king.
Yeah, you kind of.
I understand what you're saying.
Shore up your defenses, like you can't like.
It's just. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go on, man.
I was going to say it depends what your goal is.
If your goal is to take one of these mono factions, you should be able to take the mono faction, hopefully.
And do the best you can. So that's like I can definitely see that as a goal. That I'm trying to decide right now what path I want to take. Like
you should take the least traveled every time.
Thank you, Dave.
What's wonderful advice? He's coming up to play a majority Corsairs this year.
Which
Red Corsairs, yeah.
Maybe.
Well, actually, Red Corsairs right now sounds like a viable, really viable option.
They seem decent to me. I think it's playable.
I do too. I've worked through quite a few lists in my head and gone, no, I just spent $500 on custode grav tanks. I can't.
My wife would be so mad if I switched now.
I just wouldn't open the tanks and be like, no, this package is addressed to you. Just cross out my name and write hers because she gets so much from Amazon all the time. She wouldn't even know. She'd be like,
Fair.
oh, I must have. What are these resin tanks? I don't remember ordering those. I don't know, honey. Sounds like you, actually. You're ordering stuff like that all the time.
Look, I have this receipt. It even has your name written on it in the address.
It has nothing to do with the fact I used your.
I took a picture of it, though. I didn't have the actual receipt. I took a picture of it before I threw it away. Nothing. That's not Photoshop. I swear to God, it's really your name on it.
Anyway, so we'll see how this pans out. It'll be interesting to see if people start utilizing summoning more. Like, I definitely think all the Imperial players are going to use assassins.
Oh yeah,
because that's just a gimme.
Well, that was going to happen anyway.
It was almost assured, and now it's, I think, completely assured because it's a way that you can interject some variability into the army that you're taking.
I mean, I'm going to have 1,915 points of custodes and 85 points of assassin sideboard. So
yep.
But I mean, and to Danny's point, like I'm sitting there thinking how I can change my army because I want to stick with Death Guard, right? But everything in my list that is demons, I can summon pretty reliably and easily from the demon book. Or from the Chaos Death Guard book.
Well, and you could still actually stick with the Nurgle keyword instead of actually sticking with Death Guard if you wanted to play in that faction.
Yeah, but that's going to be a more... See, I'm coming from a place where the Nurgle keyword is going to be a very hotly contested faction.
Yeah, whereas I think it's the best of the Chaos Gods.
Whereas your
obviously
Death
you're
Guard...
all wrong. Khorne is the best.
Whereas your...
Well, I mean, power-wise, Dave, not coolness-wise.
Yeah.
And if it's coolness-wise, then it's clearly Tzeentch.
Well, okay, you shut your whore mouth. All right. I will slap that third eye right off your forehead right now.
But I think Death Guard was a more realistic place for me to go higher than a Nurgle primary faction.
Mm-hmm. Well, because
just from what I'm seeing.
Well, because with Death Guard, you can do stuff like the Forge World Leviathan Dreadnoughts, and you can take Possess.
You know what I can do is get stuff with an AP of -3 or better. True story. True story.
Unless it's obliterators.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
You can't
They're
summon
only
those.
they're only 65 points.
Wait,
John,
I was
so-
like, wait, what? I can take. Wait, no, Danny, you expertly raised my hopes and then completely dashed them.
That was all part of my plan.
Good job.
Thank you.
Enjoy that. That's good. But yeah, so that's kind of, I think, really going to reshape a lot of the way we see local army lists up here. I think a lot of people are moving to mono factions because of this, which honestly, I'm excited for.
I was looking forward to moving to mono faction until I watched Josh win that tournament with mono faction. I went, well, my list is nothing like his. I'm screwed.
Your list has 18,000 bullets that rip shit apart.
You
do
don't,
like
you don't think
18,000
those grab
bullets.
tanks can take down the bikers?
Oh, I totally think they can.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
okay.
I'm talking about points wise, winning events and stuff like that. The mono faction without the extra CP generated by having another detachment, like I had worked in the Shadow Spear detachment, to be X amount of points, which gave me infiltrating units, you know, to get early board control, and also defensive units and hidden sniper units and suppressor units, so that I could pop those guys in, shoot a unit, and then charge them with the jet bikes. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, honestly, like, if a lot of people start doing mono faction and I stop seeing a Castellan in every goddamn list, Mortarian's going to start making a comeback.
Hell
in my
yeah,
list.
and I think
that's what I'm excited for.
That's
is-
viable.
Yeah. And that's what I'm excited for, is the opportunity to take these models out again, because again, it's going to take a little bit for kind of everything to shake out, see where people go. But people take a lot of pride in these factions and these points.
Well, it's definitely not the top
I
of this
think
pancake house, because that
Like
board's gone.
AdMech is going to come out kind of the really big winner, I think, off of this.
Yeah,
change.
no, I really think they do. I feel like they were
I
kind
don't
of, I don't know. I think
Because, I mean, you can still take
I
your
think I-
castle and you can still take your command point generating units. You have the
Yeah.
little chicken walker tanks. You have little spider tanks that can do damage.
I mean, they have good choices already.
Yeah, they do.
I think if you're going to play them, I think you want to take like a Crusader or a Gallant, though.
I feel like Rob gave Reese a Taiwanese basket, maybe, to get that, because it's like
Dave, until you produce the video,
I'm definitely not producing a video of Rob giving Reese a Taiwanese
Is
basket.
Rob in
even
the
if-
basket?
well, obviously he is the basket.
Right.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, that's the changes coming up. We're going to take a quick
it's
break.
called the Chinese finger trap, Danny. When you Rob, when they're both in the basket.
Stop.
Never Google anything Dave is saying. There go my show notes right there, and we'll be right back.
Earl Hagen was a legend. In 1960, he whistled his way into Hollywood and into our hearts. Decades later, he made a comeback, lending those lustrous lips in the 1980s to such bands as the Scorpions, Guns N' Roses, and Pat Benatar. A half-century after his humble beginnings, he's at it again. This time without cumbersome musical accompaniment, he'll have you wetting your whistle and whistling along. His new album, Earl Whistles Disney, is sure to be a hit with all generations. Order now and receive a bonus album, Earl Whistles More Shit, a collection of previously unreleased material of Earl's favorite songs through the years. On this bonus album, he demonstrates his newly mastered technique of inward whistling. Order yours today on compact disc or double-length cassette. Also available at fine retailers such as Walgreens, CVS, and participating Sam Goody stores. Earl Whistles Disney. Buy it today.
I mean, we had the same idea.
Yep, we did.
Do you
My
know,
toilet is just in my mouth.
do you know this sound effect is like 15
Thanks, For
seconds
Loco.
long, which is way too long for that sound effect.
Not
There
if
we
your
go.
toilet's properly flushing. 15 seconds is about right.
Oh, that's
What
fair.
do you
So
flush
Dave-
in a third world country?
Tell me more about toilets. How do you know so much
Yeah.
about toilets?
Well,
Yeah,
it's
Dave.
an interesting segue. I used to repair
Let's
the
not
toilets
talk about your
on
mom.
Vigilus, actually, before it was ablaze.
What?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Wow,
wait,
dude.
wait. I got something for this. Vigilus is ablaze?
Are you kidding me? That
Vigilus
place was so nice.
is ablaze. When we last left our intrepid band of adventurers,
Just booked my hotel for there.
I was really looking forward to going swimming there.
Yeah.
ooh, lots,
I
not so
hope they
good.
talk about water in this book. Dave, do they talk about water?
Well, let me get to the water section. Hold on, let me look.
So yeah, Vigilus Ablaze. The final closing.
No water.
Oh, that's
Yeah, that's what I think your book. Hey, so Vigilus Ablaze, the final segment or the final book of the Vigilus.
Is it though?
Duology. They said it's a 2-part book.
yeah. They
for
said
the
it's
Vigilus
2 parts,
clan.
dude.
I feel like there could easily be a third book to this.
For sure.
For
Where are my
sure.
Tyranids?
Yeah, I mean, away. Just
That's what I'm saying. Is
calm the
book,
hell down.
Book 3, here they come. It's
Um,
Hive Fleet Bahamut or whatever you want to call it.
Book 1 kind of dealt with the
Bahama Mai Tai? Is that what you said?
Book 1
Sorry.
dealt with the Mai Tai insurgency, the orc invasion, and kind of all the stuff, kind of the catalyst that started the Vigilus, the inner turmoil. Book 2 focuses on the Chaos invasion and the invasion of Abaddon and the Black Legion to claim this world for chaos.
I don't. First off, I'm
Okay.
going to say this right now. When we got our review copy,
Sure.
the first thing I did was start reading the fluff
Sure.
because I don't look at numbers the same way that Danny does. Like he's some sort of weird, that Russell Crowe from that one movie, Beautiful Mind. Like that's Danny. I imagine he.
I mean, that's really insulting.
I mean-
I mean,
What if Danny traveled around with his little tugboat Tugger and they fought people or whatever it is?
that's more accurate to my life.
He goes around with his tugger.
I tug
Starting
all over the
fights.
place.
How dare you interrupt him during his beautiful list building?
But Danny is the guy that can look at the numbers and in his head immediately these combos pop like some sort
I
of.
just have like the picture of
Some kind
the
of gross pimple.
dude from Limitless, with just all of the numbers and
Yeah.
stuff appearing in front
Right?
of Danny's
That's-
face,
that's-
like pictures
You
of
mean the
models
guy
going
in the
past.
Hangover? That is
Yeah.
like that guy has a beard. He's semi-socially awkward. He drugs his friends. You'll be feeling that.
Are you,
I knew it
are
wasn't.
you
my
comparing
complete,
yourself to Zach Galifianakis in this story?
Maybe I am. Maybe
I
I'm not.
knew it wasn't my complete lack of skill and poor tactical decisions that lost me that game. It was drugs.
I drugged your Four Loko with, get this, just some Four Loko Black. That's all it was.
That's all it takes.
You okay there?
No.
No, he's pretty
When
old,
we-
dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when we last left our intrepid band of adventurers on Vigilus,
Previously on Vigilus.
they were battling. Marneus Calgar had shown up. He was Primarisified, and he was now fighting against all of the insurgencies of the Genestealer cult, the Drukari, who were busy raiding and stealing people.
The Drew Carries.
Yes, the Drukaris, who were not giving away prizes when somebody spun $1 on the wheel.
Aw.
The orc speed freaks, who were content to just race themselves
Dude,
around.
what
in
did
the
they
dust.
do? They were just having fun, man.
Actually, I believe it's a speed wah.
Oh, yeah, good point. Cruel Daka.
Yeah.
That's the general. That's the guy's name.
So,
Don't forget, pimp slapping senators on the floor for having bad face paint,
well, I mean, that's what you should do anyway.
clown makeup, if
I
you will.
love it. So yeah, in book 1, we found out the Genestealer cult had infiltrated the High Senate of Vigilus by wearing makeup. And I love that part that they just kind of rub off some grease paint. I'm like, oh, he has purple skin. I always was
Dead.
concerned
Put him to
about his
death.
claws and his extra 2 arms.
But I thought
But
that
it-
was normal. We're really close.
I
to
just
the
thought he was
warp.
lumpy under his robes.
Yep, his skin color always checked out. I want to see like the senator
Skin color white. We're good.
talking to a
Ooh.
dude with his arms folded, and then he's like, "Hey, could you pass me that paper?" And another arm passes out of nowhere, and the guy just doesn't think 2 seconds about it. It's good times.
It's all good. So, so they're starting to make a tiny bit of headway. All right, and it's and Calgar's like, I am doing this for for Ultramar, and I'm enforcing the Primarch's edict, and I'm doing everything I need to do. When Harkin Wold Claimer shows up and goes, hey, guess what, guys? Abaddon's coming in 80 days. And flies away, I imagine, with his jetpack. Yeah.
Wow, you guys make him sound like a fucking bitch.
I want him to be like an albatross or something.
He's a man.
Abaddon is coming, caca.
Wow. That was the worst albatross I've ever heard. All right. First off, they are a majestic beast.
And they speak with a British accent, so you're going to have to try a little bit harder this next time. Yeah, no, please, let's hear it.
Yeah, I can't wait for this.
Abaddon is coming. No, I got another one for this here.
All right, let's hear it.
Ready?
Yep.
Yeah,
It's what I deserve.
that's better. In my head, Harken World Claimer actually sounds more like the seagull from Little Mermaid, the old time one, where he's like, "Oh, that's a whatchamadoo." Just
Why is
it's a thingamajig.
Why is he so goofy? I don't get it.
That's because it just. I just imagine him coming down being all goofy. Abaddon's coming to thingamajig in 30 days.
To me, Harken Warclimber sounds like Wall-E from the Disney movie Wall-E.
Just silence.
He can say his name, Harkon. Wait, I got you guys. I got you here.
Okay, waiting. There it is. Okay. So
It was shorter.
So Harkin says Abaddon's coming within 80 days, and Marneus says, "Well, that can't be right. I mean,
I have him
Abaddon's
scheduled
nowhere
here
near."
for 82 days.
Abaddon's not going to be here. Abaddon's not coming here. Why would he come
You
here?
guys are a bunch of liars.
So they check out. He consults with all of his astropaths and everything else, and he's like, "Sir, just to let you know, Harkin is correct. Abaddon will be here in fact, 80 days." But Abaddon, and he'll be like, "Oh, Harkin said that like 3 days ago, though, so he's wrong. We've already won the planet Vigilus, and a bunch of high fives happening because he's wearing his gauntlets. So Ultimate already killed like 16 astropaths. It's brutal.
By high five. It's like, shit, I had the gauntlets on. I forgot
Ooh,
again.
I forgot to turn off that switch." So he grabs all of the Imperial Navy, and he's like, "Oh, hell no. Abaddon's not coming. He's not going to get to this planet. He's not taking it. I cannot lose this for Robute."
My dad is going to be so mad at me if I break his new world.
First off, I got these new robot legs and these new robot arms and these fancy new gauntlets of Ultramarp 2.0, and we're going to do this. So he takes the mightiest fleet the Empire has ever seen since the Heresy days, and he travels into the warp like an idiot.
Well, I mean, it's just Ultramarines,
like
though.
an idiot. No, it wasn't just Ultramarines. It was everything. You had Mechanicus ships. You had...
Let's not call him an idiot.
Yeah.
He's an ultramarine.
All right.
It's the same
Can
thing.
I get to the bottom of the page? Can I call him an idiot?
Politically correct term is
see.
ultramarine.
So they get in there, and sure enough, the Vengeful Spirit, Abaddon's flagship, is at the head, and they can see him. It's coming right towards him, and they're like, "Oh, he's got to have a plan. He's too smart. The War Master is brilliant, but we're spread out, and this double cordon we're running here, which is not to be confused with the double cordon bleu, which sounds amazing right now, is going to stop him no matter what." And
Didn't they like fire off a bunch of missiles to the side and they're like, yeah, we're real
gonna-
clever. You can't escape out the side, bitch.
yeah, we're going to funnel him right in towards us like some sort of giant wedge to drive through us into Vigilus. And Abaddon, well, you don't know because this part of the book doesn't tell you what Abaddon's thinking, but I can only imagine it was, "Who's this idiot? Release the hounds!" And then a weird sci-fi popping noise happened like the movie from UHF, and on the portal of the bridge of...
Ooh, that was good.
Yeah. So there you go.
Pretty much just like that, of Calgar's ship opens a portal, and out steps absolute buttloads of demons.
Yeah.
Slanesh demons, by the way, which threw me for a loop.
I
Because
think the correct term is a shitload of demons.
No, not when they're Slanesh.
Then they're a buttload.
They're a cacophony of demons then. Or perhaps...
Noise.
A gape of demons.
A goatsy of demons, if you will.
No, I will not, sir. I will
Well,
not.
I think what's super cool is like it's like the way GW's releases are kind of lining up together, right? So the first time we have Vigilus
Right.
Defiant, and that ends with, oh, Abaddon is coming in 80 days, and then we get Abaddon here in this book. And in this book, the first thing that happens, the first kind of major engagement, is a demonic incursion into the bridge of Calgar's ship, where a Keeper of Secrets attacks him.
Right. But at this point, it was the old model of Keeper of Secrets, so it's not
I don't
very
think
good.
so. I think it's the new one.
I think it's the new one.
Well, it wasn't released. It wasn't even announced yet when the book came out, so it can't be. Sorry.
In my imagination, since I didn't read it until after I saw the new model.
I guess,
Yeah.
you know what? I'm
I
going to say
forged
this.
my own narrative.
There
That's
it is.
right.
I'm going to say, Danny, I apologize. I was trying to forge your own narrative for you, but I was wrong.
And you know
that
what? I
was-
don't appreciate that. Dave.
I'm apologizing for it right now, Danny. I
right.
apologize. But you were wrong.
Make sure it
So
doesn't
it was
happen
the
again.
original one, or maybe even the one from Epic 40K would be my guess, actually.
So It has a spear.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it does. That's
Can
why
we
it's-
talk about that for a second? Because
We
that seems
can.
cool. A keeper of secrets with a spear,
Oh.
not a model that they previewed, but maybe a model, maybe a build of the kit.
Maybe a weapon
or a
option in there.
or a
Yeah.
conversion you might do?
well, because if you think about it,
Also, would be cool.
all
Yeah,
the other
sounds badass.
all the other greater demons have had multiple options inside their kit.
Right.
Right.
I think aside from Tzeentch, which only had one weapon option,
It has
right?
two.
It has two.
You can take the wand or the staff,
Oh, there you
or
go.
I'm sorry, the wand or the sword.
Right. So they all
Hold
have
on,
different
hold on.
options.
You could take a wand or a sword. Did these people never play World of Warcraft? You always took the sword over the wand. That was the bitch weapon.
False.
False. If you are a mage, you absolutely want to take the wand
Nope.
over the sword.
Stats on the sword were better than the wand every time.
So the sword gives you a different melee
So who
weapon.
played fucking mages? Plebe.
I
Anyway.
I had a mage in World of Warcraft.
So this
What are you trying to say, Dave? But anyway,
So-
so
plebe. So
Dang, dude. All right, put me in my place.
yeah.
okay.
You know what? I might not be awesome at 40K, as awesome as you are at 40K.
But he's also terrible.
But if
at
you
World
go
of
back to
Warcraft.
I'm equally terrible at World of Warcraft.
But if you go back to the heyday of Classic, I was actually a top rating
well,
guild tank.
we
main
can't, Dave,
tank.
because we weren't alive when
I
World of
fucking
Warcraft.
hate you guys so much right now.
That's just not true, though. I mean, we can both say that.
Shut up, Dan. Don't take this from me.
All right. So
Slanesh demon incursion.
They start nuking it out.
Demons and dicks everywhere.
And just slap.
boobs.
They were slapping their giant dragon dildos all over the place, laying
Oh,
out
those
Ultramarines
demons
left
slap.
wide.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. What are the honor guard called?
Dicks.
Victrix. I'm sorry. It's what called? What?
Victrix.
You sure?
Victrix.
Okay. So the Victrix honor guard are in the book.
Is
and
this
they
an
actually
in-joke
get the two
because
characters get
someone
named?
pointed out before that we said Vicatrix before?
Yeah.
Oh,
like
Danny.
an ass.
Danny said Vicatrix.
I still think it's
he actually
Victrix.
said it wrong like twice. You said it two different ways in that video.
Yeah.
It
So
was
the-
neither one of them were right, by the way.
So the Vice Trex.
Vicatrix.
Yeah, so the Vice Trex
Vicatrax.
guards.
the Vicator Rix
The
super
Vicodin guard.
The
yeah, the
Vicodin
Vicodin
guard.
right. Step out to take on this greater demon, and the greater demon's like, lol, slap and knock him aside. And I was like, well, they're Primaris with super shields, so that's not possible. Okay, whatever. Forge your own narrative,
Like,
DW.
I have a new model and data sheet coming.
I'm better than I previously was.
Fuck off, bitch.
So he stabs at Calgar with his spear, and I thought this was awesome. Calgar grabs the tip of the spear with his gauntlets at Altamar, and in my head, I got to that paragraph, I was like, oh, he's going to snap the spear or something. No, Calgar's a bitch, okay? The spear slides...
It's too slippery.
It's too slippery! His spear was covered with lube, slides through the gauntlet, and stabs him through one of his two hearts.
Yep. And then,
Oh,
to add
man.
insult to injury, the demon slashes his throat too, just because.
Just kills him. Calgar dies in the first 2 pages of the book. I've been-
Actually, he's mortally wounded in the first 2 pages of the book.
No, he was dead for literally like 60 seconds before his shit kicks in and saves him. So it tells you that's like, all right, well, shit. Okay, he's got to recover from that. So he does, naturally, because
It's
they just gave him a
in
new
like
model, and that would be
5
pretty
minutes.
bullshit to be like, hey, in that previous book, we know how you gave you a brand new awesome-looking Calgar and some Vicatrix guard. Awesome. Check it out. Here's the Victrix guards' names. It's Enos and Bob, or whatever they call him in the book.
What's Calgar's real name? Doesn't matter. He's dead.
Dead.
now.
Yeah, it's like,
Marneus.
you guys wanted to call him Prime Marneus? No problem. Dead. We killed him.
Thanks, Danny.
You're welcome. That's what I'm here for.
But we find it's kind of Chekhov's gun because they introduce a dead Marneus Calgar at the start of the book. But let's continue on here.
Let's
So
find the ways that he dies again.
So the main astropath of Calgar's flagship goes, well, this is not going good, and reveals his third eye, banishing all of the demon, killing all the lesser demons, and
Giggity.
banishing the greater demon back into the portal, and which
Which
is
is ironic because the Slanesh demons revealed their third eye and did all that damage in the first place.
Right.
Third brown eye.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting that he waited that long. Like, oh, they'll take him. Nope, never mind. My bad. They're not taking him. Here's the third eye. Boom. And the same thing happened on every single ship that was in
Right.
the
So
war.
they just decapitated all the ships.
Right. They basically just crippled all the ships, except that I like to imagine that on every ship, Marneus Calgar died, because that's probably what happened. He was like, I'm died here, so I'll just resurrect over here. Still dead. Never mind. Over there, dead.
Like some
you
really
guys
shitty multiverse.
So the first 2 pages of this book, by the way, do not make you want to buy
You guys
Marneus
quit spawn
Calgar.
killing me.
Calgar
Come
was,
on! You slavish demons ganking me. This bullshit.
Calgar was hardcore camped for the first 4 pages of this book.
He just I was like so
as
sad.
opposed to the rest of it.
So sad.
Just kidding.
I said first 40 pages of this.
Oh,
oh,
I was talking about the camp. No, I'm just kidding. This is actually really well written. I'm super happy with it.
oh yeah, no.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, everything's
It's
been
cool.
super good. They could write like a 4-page novel series about what happened on Vigilus, and I would buy every book. And I already know.
4-page?
4
Yeah.
book. Sorry.
Okay.
4 local kicks.
I will read
Bad.
any book that has Marneus Calgar getting punked in new and exciting ways
For 4 books.
for 4 books. No, 4 pages.
4 pages.
Well,
Well,
that's what I'll write in my community survey when I do the next one.
just
Could
4
I have
pages
a
of Marneus
4
Calgar getting punked.
4 pages of Marneus Calgar death scenes, please.
Can I read
Oh,
a
does that have to
novel
be
where the
dead?
Ultramarines lose?
Do you think that the writers just pitched so many ideas for Calgar dying that this one just kind of slipped through, and they're like, "Oh shit, bring
Ooh,
him
we
back."
forgot to edit this out.
So
I'm just-
Calgar stops him in the warp, and Abaddon doesn't make it to Vigilus. Perfect, great. No, they better have him die instead.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so he recovers kind of.
So, well, no, he fully recovers. 'Cause
Well, he has a
Space
slight
Marines
mechanical
are-
burr to the edge of his voice from now on.
Well, I mean, he didn't have arms or legs prior to becoming a Primaris. Let's just be honest. When they released him,
That's actually him trying
Yeah.
to whisper.
yeah,
He was saying, "Bring me my gauntlets."
Yeah.
You didn't hear that?
no.
Can you play it again?
Yeah, you ready?
Oh yeah, I hear it now.
Dude, that's
There it is.
racist. He was asking for his armor that time.
Totally.
Why would that be
soon as
racist? did I just?
But yeah, so they're kind of fucked up by this here. A lot of their
They retreat.
they have to retreat because all of their admirals and kind of their commanders are just really dead by a sudden demonic incursion.
They haul ass back to Vigilus like a puppy dog who's been slapped with a wet newspaper. Just
True.
yeah, and set up for defense. And of course,
My very expensive microphone stand is falling apart.
I see.
so obviously Marneus Calgar, who recovers and is fully back with the exception of a weird mechanical burr to his voice, starts setting up the defense of the hives, right?
Yes.
Meanwhile, Harkin World Claimer's been wrecking face with his warp talons. Yeah, there he is. Wrecking face with his warp talons and with his
Raptors.
Thank you. I was like havocs. I'm trying to say havocs, but I know that's not it. With his raptors all over the upper level of hives, right? And just be like, he's coming. Abaddon's coming.
I think what's really good about this here is they say that the reason he's able to take over the tops of the hives so successfully and so quickly
is because it's
is
full of
because
nothing
the
but rich
entire
bitch.
population has been told not to look up.
Oh, that does make
Yeah.
sense.
Right, and they said that there's like that's how because he just concentrates on the top of the spires, and if no one can look up, he's literally only dealing with like 100 dignitaries.
Yeah, it's no, well, because every time somebody looks up, they start becoming crazy. And basically, on the planet, what's happened is this absolute fervor of people doing one of two things. Like regular civilians are like panicking, and they're joining either chaos cults or joining the Gene Stealer cult, the Pauper Princes. Like, protect us, four-armed God Emperor. And the four-armed God Emperor's like, yeah, we'll protect you until the Tyranids get here. In book 3 of Vigilus, Eaton, as it's known.
Regular Emperor did jack shit for them, so might as well try Chaos or Gene Stealer cult. I liked how the Gene Stealer cult said that they were the original Vigilants.
Yeah.
That was a nice touch.
So Harkin's doing his thing, and that was, I honestly have to admit, of the 100 pages of fluff in this book, that was the one section I was like, this is boring. Next. Okay. So you move on to the War in the Darkness, which has one of my absolute, you know what? Actually, I'm going to say absolute favorite, but really there is so much stuff in this fluff-wise that made me go, that is amazing. So you have the Night Lords, 2 units of Night Lords led by 2 kind of like factions of Night Lords led by 2 different commanders who ally with a unit of the Scourged, who, if you remember from our last episode, are this fantastic cursed renegade chapter who can see all the lies in the future.
Sees through the lies of the Jedi.
Right, you know. and they're attacking
Holy
Hive.
shit, a chapter of Anakin's. How fucking whiny.
Oh god.
Oh god.
Which Anakin though? Because I mean, Darth Vader Anakin was
all
pretty
of them
awesome.
are pretty bad. But anyway, I'm sorry, you were saying.
So they are ordered to take Hive Dirkden, and that is Drik.
Dirkden?
Yeah, Dirkden. And they think it's going to be super easy, but what they don't know, because Harkin hasn't told them, because he's never been below 80,000 feet. He's like, the hive's full of pussies. Go on in there and take it over.
He's a peacock.
It's literally nothing. That hive
sorry.
itself is actually owned by Gene Stealer cults. So
I mean, I think they're sub-renting.
no, the Gene Stealer cults definitely own that. They killed the old lady in there. Maybe it's rent controlled. So, but at best,
They're rent-controlled spire.
so they're in this hive and they've got it completely controlled. And these squads led by the world leaders they're like, or not, I'm sorry, not world leaders, Night Lords, who are these, aerial specialists, and they're terror and all sorts of stuff like that, jump in like, haha, we're going to kill you. And then the Gene Stealer cults pop out of fucking everywhere and just start wiping the floor with them.
Sure.
And the Scourge.
Yeah.
The fighting goes on long enough, and the Gene Stealer cults do not use their pure strain because they know that pure strain will just get absolutely and utterly destroyed by Astartes bolters, because apparently they've read
Luckily,
the codex before, so they know
Sure,
the rules.
They know. Yeah, bolter drill, man.
Yeah,
Luckily, because of that boring part beforehand, though, their numbers were super bolstered by
right.
chaff.
They're just swollen up by chaff, so they're sending all these guys in and just absolutely slaughtering the Chaos Space Marines, who at this point are like, what is happening? We don't understand it. There comes a point where the Scourged make a break for it over a wall of bodies. These two different units, the Scourge get separated into two different units, two separate detachments, if you will, separated by
squad.
bodies. Yeah, well, I mean, it was still like 100 dudes each, but
Oh, so they're
company
not a
squad.
unit.
yeah, company squatted. Yeah,
So
when I
these
say
are warbands?
kind of.
Okay.
Yeah. So they get separated by a wall of dead bodies from all this chaff, and end up using the wall of dead bodies to climb up to get to the next layer of the hive to escape.
That's very scourgy, though.
Yeah, it is. Meanwhile, the Night Lords basically just get their ass kicked and die.
Yep.
Weren't smart enough to climb the bodies.
Sudden appearance of 18,000 Gene Stealers will do that to a boy.
Well, and they're wasted on this kind of a fight too, because the Night Lords are really all about terror.
Right, and they were
And
like,
so,
we're scary.
If it's fearless.
Yeah.
Like, nobody cares.
We're scary. And a
No.
dude with a rock saw and an extra arm was like, go fuck yourself.
yeah, I was able to cut through him and flip him off at
Yeah.
the same time.
Like,
But
ooh, that's a powerful combination.
something they mentioned in this book here is
It's a power move for sure.
that the Gene Stealer cult are able to mask their presence from Abaddon.
Well, and their presidents too.
yeah, that too. But so Abaddon's plan in no way had anything to do with the Gene Stealer cult.
He did not
He didn't
know about it at
He
all.
didn't know they were there, so when he sent the Night Lords there, the idea was like, hey, you guys are going to go scare the populace, do all this other kind of stuff. Get ready. Just, when the populace started having extra arms and claws, they got really, really screwed over.
Yeah. So the Night Lords asked to take on this hive because it's where the criminal element runs, and in their head they're like,
Oh, they're
we
hoping
can
for
get some
some
new
recruits.
recruits. We can
Yeah.
get some new recruits. This will be awesome. And so they're doing the new recruits do a run and gun where they're like, oh, we're fighting you, hee hee, and run away, tricking them into separating from the Scourged, which then that's when the Gene Stealer cult pops the trap because they're tied into the criminal element and just start whipping the shit out of them to make them go, hey, we talked to Abaddon, and Abaddon said there was a 100% chance of no Gene Stealer cults here, but clearly he was wrong. So, we are screwed. And I just like that because I don't like Night Lords.
Oh, well, you're a bastard.
Yeah.
Sorry, man, I just don't like them.
Bastard
I do
man.
like the Scourge though, so I was happy the Scourge were like smart enough to climb up the wall of dead bodies and get away. Kind of like
Well, they're in totally different parts of the city, so it's kind of hard to
I mean, if you look at the map, it's not very big. It's I mean, if you look at the map in the book, it's no bigger than my penis, so it's pretty small.
If you look at the map of the world on the back of a coin, it's...
See?
No, you're right. That's still bigger than
You're
your
right,
penis.
Dave. It's only the same size as your mom's vagina, so we'll just move right
Well,
on.
that's a big world.
A whole new world.
Don't say that. We're gonna get demonetized again. Copyright infringement.
I
'Cause you-
partially said the lyric of a song in a Disney movie. Oh, God.
Yeah. That's Japanese. Disney is gonna hit us with that one. So, and then it moves on to retaking the hoist, where if you remember from the first book, the hoist is basically it's a giant crane that stretches to a platform up in space where the trader ships dock.
The hoist is where they take the ice asteroids that are
Right.
around, and then they process them and send the water back down to Vigilus.
Right. So it's very important. The Gene Stealer cults retake the hoist and hold it for a while. And this section ends with the Gene Stealer cult, the Pauper Princes, being like, yeah, who runs this town? We run this town, and
I thought that was retaken from the Gene Stealer cult by the Mechanicus and some Space Marines.
no, I thought the Mechanicus, I thought they didn't actually take it back.
Oh, okay.
But they did something to it anyway.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's moot anyway. When you get to later in the book, you learn.
No, they did. Oh, they took it back, and you know why I'm gonna stick to this point because
That's fine.
Like a super cool action sequence.
Oh,
So
yeah, they send the onagers.
yeah,
up.
so say they sent onagers. So the Mechanicus takes it back by sending onagers to the outside of the spire, and they use kind of like maglocks to walk up. So they distract the Gene
What
Stealers
would maglock?
with massive-
Hold on. What would maglocking onagers sound like if they were walking up the outside of a hive?
John,
I mean,
do you have an effect for that?
that would
Yep,
sound
there
like
it goes.
There it is.
The
Okay.
Windows error message.
All right, that
That's
sounds
exactly what it sounds like.
So they distract the Gene Stealers and get the pure strains to reveal themselves by sending in massive, and the Patriarch,
And Grandsire Worm, yes.
right? By sending in a bunch of Skitarii through these like abandoned shuttle tubes or something, and then that draws them out because the Skitarii are just kicking ass left, right, and
I
center.
don't believe that. I mean, clearly they must
Man.
have been playing monocodex with knights. So
And then as soon as the Skitarii start to lose, the Mechanicum just opens up on its own guys and the Gene Stealers with the onagers and blow everything away. They cut out. They shoot off 2 of Grandsire Worm's arms.
yep, he gets caught.
Killed
He
pretty
gets
much
caught
all
by
of
the
the pure
beams.
strain Gene
Yep.
Stealers up there, and then they take that water back there. And thank God, because like the last book has established, water is a very precious resource on Vigilus.
Correct. So,
But now the Senate has a fantastic plan about how to stop all
Well,
this stuff here
so they don't.
that they got from the Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson movie Skyscraper.
A classic, if you
They're
will.
gonna-
Classic,
hold on.
available on HBO now, right now.
wait. They're gonna leap from the hoist over to one of the spires. Is
Yeah.
that what's happening?
But they only after they remove one of their legs.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. But no,
wow! I really have to see this movie.
what
Apparently,
they finally decide to do is they're gonna smoke out the chaos.
so they're trying to figure out how. They've got a meeting of the minds right now, and there's this fantastic piece of art that shows Calgar, not Primarist. That's Khal Drago, and 2 other awesome-looking dudes in this picture here. And I'm like, oh, who are these guys? Well, they don't tell you.
Yeah, some rogue
It's just
trader,
a random. They were like, put a piece of art there. Damn
some
it.
rogue trader, some inquisitor, and Calgar.
Oh, do you think that's Janice Vajek from?
I believe it's Anus Vajek
Anus-
from the rogue
This is a
trader
really
game.
old piece of
From
artwork.
Yeah,
Stone Fortress.
yeah.
Okay, got it. They're discussing about it. There's also a bit where the World Bears and the Iron Warriors are duking it out with some Imperial Fists, and the Imperial Fists are not quite,
Good.
oddly enough, the Imperial Fists, for some reason, can't keep up. They can't fortify faster than the Iron Warriors can knock down.
Which is weird because usually they die quick enough that their bodies become walls.
Right? That's what I'm saying. So it comes down to this discussion, which later in the book spawns a mission that sounds really fun to play, called Calgar's Fires. You have one of the Senate who has never once agreed with the Skitarii and the Admech, hates them to death, thinks they're shady and doesn't like them on the planet, suddenly agree with them because the Admech have said, hey, if we turn all our seismic drills on the core of the planet and stuff, we can, cause enough damage to kill the chaos. And Calgar's like, and everything that's alive. And they're like,
And
so what's the problem?
the robot Mechanicus guy is like, yeah.
Yeah, so what's the problem? I don't understand. I'm sorry. It was more like, so what's the problem? Beep or something, maybe. No? All right, never mind. I apologize. So the senator, this particular senator and Hive person is like, you know what? I actually agree with them, which made everybody go, hold on. There must be some real bad plan, because this person has never once agreed with the AdMech. So something's wrong. Let's talk about it. And they end up deciding to light all of the spires on fire in a controlled burn of the upper half where the raptors are.
Which seems like a good move.
Yeah. To smoke them out. So they send
Also
out
the plot of the blockbuster movie Skyscraper.
fantastic, awesome.
Yeah.
So they send out Adeptus Seriatus fire teams who, kind of like volunteer firemen fighting a fire, set controlled burns to prevent the fire from being worse. And it, like I said, it spawns this awesome mission that's in the book that you can play, where every turn the board gets tighter and tighter as the fires burn up, and anything caught in the fire just dies.
Nice.
It's like, well, I kind of really want to play that with Danny's 210 model Tyranid army, and against my 50 model Custode army, call it a day. And I really like that, because it shows that they're getting desperate.
Yeah, for sure.
It's
they
like,
are.
all right, that's where all the rich people live. Burn it.
But they do that, and next we learn. So they set that all on fire, and now we move to the tastiest area of the planet, the swirl.
Yeah, I don't say it's not necessarily the tastiest. I just like the way this is written. I like what is inside the swirl. I like the way that is. I dislike that they sent
Inside the swirl.
So do you think the swirl, if it was in Australia, would go the other direction?
I mean, we can no.
Because it's not on.
It's in Vigilus,
Still has gravity,
which is a different planet. Not every planet has an Australia, Dave.
Yeah,
thank God.
Actually, at this point, Vigilus is Australia.
Like
Everything there is trying to kill you. Yeah,
Everything's trying to kill you, and it's on fire.
Yeah,
that's
and
fair.
it costs so much to live there. So,
but yeah, so inside this world, we go back to these Dark Angels we met in Book 1, who fought together with the White Scars in that battle.
Did they really fight with the White Scars? So much as just
they kind of drove along with them, and then when battle came, they kind of drove off in a different direction.
They were like, "See ya, peace, bye."
And the reason being is because there's fallen on Vigilus, a lot of them.
Yeah, but they don't really know that. They think that.
Oh, no, they know that.
No. If you read it, they don't know why. They have their reasons. They're not exactly sure what's inside, but they know that they have to get inside this world.
Yeah, they know there's fallen there. They know they're inside this world because the chief fallen person there is a librarian,
right?
Who's been sending out fallen to be captured by Dark Angels, so that they give out the messages during interrogation about Vigilus. And that there's fallen on Vigilus, and that they're hoping what that does is it brings the Rock, the Dark Angel's fortress monastery, not the star of the hit movie Skyscraper, to Vigilus.
Man, hold on a minute.
Okay,
that was so perfectly executed. Like I have no words. Very, very well done.
You know what? End this section here. We'll call it a day, and we'll just go home. We cannot improve on that.
I just quit comedy.
For every 30 terrible jokes I tell a podcast, I tell half of one good joke.
Oh, that wasn't a good joke. It was just a flawless inclusion.
Setup, right?
Yeah, like you had made a note someplace or something so
just
that you
in
can
my
include
beautiful
it.
brain. But the
okay,
fallen,
so it must have been flawed then.
The fallen are there guarding a fortress with this MacGuffin inside it, and they've kind of made a deal with Abaddon.
It's more than a MacGuffin, sir. This is a universe-ending device.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's
a MacGuffin is just
Deus
a plot
Ex
device. Yeah, it's Deus Ex MacGuffin. It's way higher caliber.
But they made a deal with Abaddon to kind of go here and kind of do all this stuff. So they're part of the Black Legion now. And like the way this Fallen thing is written in this like kind of section of Fallen is very like twirly mustachy towards Dark Angels and kind of takes some of the nuance of it away. But I'm okay with that. But we find out that the inside this monastery the Fallen are guarding and kind of protecting is a gravity black hole gun.
An
awesome.
A brutal weapon. And the thing is, this fortress with this weapon of the old gods has been there forever, and the Fallen have been there protecting it from anybody's hands for X amount of time. Now, because it's a gravity-inducing black hole gun, it's causing this swirl of dust, because it's even when it's inactive, it's still way too active. So it's It's causing this swirl that's just ignored by the populace because they're like, well, we can't go there.
We just have a dust storm. But their plan is to bring in the Rock Johnson, like, Dark Angel Fortress in and shoot the gravity weapon at the Rock.
Thereby waking up the lion?
Therefore, kind of when it gets inside of the Rock, inside of those packs and that weird tribal tattoo thing, it'll implode and kind of destroy the entire fortress and the Dark Angels chapter with it.
Right.
Abaddon comes along. He's like, whoa, hold up a second. That sounds like a great plan, but how about no?
So the best part about this plan is that it has a very specific arc it can shoot in. So the Rock has to literally move into this point in order to get blasted.
Yeah, this is the world's most dangerous gun that can only fire at a eighth of an inch space.
Right. And it's rotating around on the planet, so it can shoot in more different spaces. However, it's got to, whatever they really want to kill has to line up with it. Whereas Abaddon has a plan to just use it. So he parks his ship above it, the Vengeful Spirit, and, the Imperium is still trying to take down the Vengeful Spirit, which is, the most mightiest ship
Can
in
I just
space
say, kind
right
of
now.
moving back to Abaddon comes and he talks to the Fallen on the thing, and the description of the meeting between the Fallen Librarian and Abaddon is amazing. It's full of tension, and it kind of really shows, like, to me, how the Black Legion works. Like, you have, a lot of disparate parts that aren't necessarily the same ideologically or things like that, but they come together for these common goals.
Yeah.
And it's described as being incredibly tense.
So the Fallen Librarian, Osandus is his name. He had made a deal with, when the Dark Angels had split issues back during the Heresy, he had made a deal with Abaddon for protection.
Do you think it was during the Heresy?
Yeah, I think it was.
I thought it was during Pandorax.
Was it during
Yeah,
Pandorax?
it was Pandorax, which was an old Apocalypse book, which I appreciate them bringing back here.
Oh, tie-ins.
Yeah.
So he'd made a deal, and they've been living successfully on this planet, guarding this thing that the Dark Angels had found, basically.
The Stygian Spires.
The weapon is called the Void Claw, and the Citadel is called the Citadel Vigilant. Okay, so they're in there, and they're hiding out. Abaddon parks his spaceship above it, drops anchor, holds tight, doesn't do anything. The Vengeful Spirit doesn't do anything until anybody approaches. Like, somebody approaches, the Spirit suddenly fires up and starts lighting them up and destroying any other ship. So they realize, we'll just leave it alone. If we leave it alone, it doesn't do anything. He teleports down with 30 of his bodyguard, the Terminators, and make like a peace arrangement with the Fallen Librarian and the Fallen. Meanwhile, the whole time they're talking, anytime they moved, the Terminators and Abaddon moved, the guns of this place just track them. Like, in a moment's notice, they're going to open up and just wipe them out. So, and Abaddon agrees to make this. He says, hey, listen, you know how I did you a favor a long time ago? I'd like a small favor in return. I just want to turn it on just for a second. I just want to be like Marty McFly in the beginning of Back to the Future and just kind of, turn it all the way up to just 11. We'll see what my guitar sounds like when I strum it. It'll be fine, So he picks a spot in between the moon and Vigilus and lights it up, turns it on, and turns on this giant gravity well that starts sucking shit from both sides into it.
Well, what was great is he positioned his entire fleet in a way, like Abaddon did, where it wasn't affected by the Black Hawks. They could turn on their engines and move away.
Yep.
The Imperial fleet, on the other hand, pretty much completely wiped out from this.
Was literally like right there. Like,
awesome.
The way he positioned himself, he was like, I'm gonna light this up over here. You go sit over here and wait. And so the Imperial fleet, who was staying outside of activation range of the Vengeful Spirit, was like literally sitting right there in this Imperial fleet parking lot. He just fired the thing at. He fires it. It goes crazy. It starts sucking all of the water off the planet, which was his actual goal, because you take away water, there goes morale.
Yeah, the gravity of this gun is so powerful, it removed all of the water from the planet's surface. So it's kind of like a water, like tsunami around the beam leaving the planet.
Yeah. So you have this water just getting sucked towards this black hole. On the other side, on the moon, which was kind of like a small industrial moon, lots of acid sludge and stuff like
Dudes
that.
with the mail. from the first book.
Yes. The acid sludge starts getting sucked off into space through the... As soon as I said it, I heard it.
Yep.
Through all of the bridges that existed to keep people safe above the acid sludge, dissolving all of them and destroying like all infrastructure on the moon. It just was very well written, very descriptive, and it showed exactly what Abaddon's plan was. It wasn't to, I'm going to do this black hole right here and then destroy the planet. It was, I'm going to do this to actually destroy the Defenders' morale, because if you don't have water...
And their morale was pretty much shot after this. It drove recruitment to the cults more.
Yep.
The guys were saying, what use are a bunch of Space Marines fighting for us if there's nothing to fight over? Like, Vigilus is pretty much done at this point as a planet.
Yeah. So, you get this plan, and then the draining happens. It moves all that stuff off there. And you move on into what they call the Iron Fist closes, where he's gripping the planet. He's like, I've got control of it.
Cupping it in his talons.
Much like somebody did in a movie once, I guess. I don't know. So you've got... Thank you.
Wow. A little bit of levity.
I appreciate that. So you come across this situation, then it happens where people are fighting. They're still fighting. The Astartes are fighting, but they're, obviously they're losing. They give up on trying to fight the Gene Stealer cults.
Yep, they're just done with those. They give up those spires entirely.
They say, you know what? The enemy of my enemy is my friend. We see what happened over here. We will deal with them after we've dealt with the rest of this stuff.
Sure.
They concoct this fantastic plan to fight a run and gun battle with a couple different chapters, World Eaters, Iron Hand, or not Iron Hands, just a bunch of bad guys. Okay?
Other chapters
Who are bad, where they run and gun and lead them, sacrificing units and troops as they go towards the Speedwog,
Nice.
who's racing around, and just kind of do this thing where they're like, oh, keep running, and the chaos is cheering at them like, oh, we're going to kill you all, it'll be fine. And they get to a certain point where they realize the Speedwog is almost upon them, and down swoops a bunch of Thunderhawk gunships. They're like, see you later, suckers. And they get on the Thunderhawks and take off, and the chaos are like, oh, running away, cowards, that's terrible. Oh, Jesus, what the hell, these guys? Oh, God. And it basically just wipes them out, which gets the Speedwog involved, like, oh, there's new fighting renewed here on the planet. Let's go fuck some shit up.
I love the orcs continue to be portrayed as just like a force of nature. They're not an army.
Yeah.
They're not someone you fight against or someone you survive and someone you kind of manipulate, like, like the wind or a freaking sandstorm,
Sure.
Yeah,
Sure.
They were definitely Darude in this situation for sure. I could.
No.
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 All right. So this happens, and then it moves on to the Infernal Machines, which
All the new demon engines came out to play.
So they use the best chapter, I believe you'll find,
The Brazen Beasts.
the Brazen Beasts.
Yeah, they fly their battle bars. They're
Dude, they're so the Brazen Beasts being a renegade chapter. To set this up, the Admech have been mining Blackstone off of the planet and hiding it in a silo, protecting it with way more than they said they had on the planet for defense-wise. So,
It's not like the Admech to be super sneaky with technology for their own purposes.
so they've been mining the Blackstone, which, by the way, it mentions in the book that the Blackstone, having so much Blackstone on this planet, is actually the reason that the warp itself is not. It's not in the warp. It's actually outside of the warp because the warp can't surround it because the Blackstone keeps the warp at bay, which is fantastic for me to learn. And it doesn't matter because that part got cut out of an episode. So they've got this super armored silo. It's got super force fields, got everything it could possibly need. And Abaddon sends the Brazen Beasts, who have all of these demon engines because they worship demon engines, to take it. And the leader of the Brazen Beasts like, no problem, we got this. And he's like, what are you going to do? Drop down? Teleport in? No, we're just going to fly our entire spaceship to the planet surface and open up the mouth of our spaceship, who has been warped because they've been in space long enough to being kind of mildly alive and demonic, and disgorge all of our renegade units.
I like to view it as a beached whale that's vomiting up the ambergris of demon engines across the planet.
Lord of Skulls. They have
Blech.
3 Lord of Skulls, and the fact that they say they've managed to amass 3 Lord of Skulls lets you know how powerful these
They're
things
just
are
trying to
supposed to be.
explain why no one puts them on the table for the game.
Because they've amassed them.
Because the Brazen Beasts have them instead.
Yeah.
Nice. So they set in. They start fighting this fight out, and then I have lost what I'm supposed to be doing. What I'm supposed to be talking about here. And the Speedwog, which has finished off the other dudes they were fighting, sees this giant ship flying to the planet like, woohoo, it's going to be battle time, and takes off and races over there and manages to save the Admech and the Darkstone by arriving just at their darkest hour, and seeing these Khorne Lords of Skulls, who are these massive units they've never seen before. They assume are really awesome tactically, and just start fighting the crap out of them before the Brazen Beasts have to, run away.
But they've amassed 3.
They had 3. Yes, that is correct. They had amassed 3, but the Speedwog took one, and then race into the mines afterwards. Like, well, we fought those guys off. Let's go into the mines. Woohoo! And just. That's
Mario Kart,
never to be seen again.
Try spinning. It's a good trick.
Was a way to write them out nicely.
Hit the orcs just so they went back to their home planet. They died
through
on
a
the
portal.
way.
I really like that section because it just shows the brutal
Ferocity.
Thank you. of the Brazen Beasts and the way that they play out and why they are in fact the best Renegade chapter, as I said last episode. So
strong doubt.
Luckily, that's your opinion, man.
Yeah. Luckily, I edit this podcast, so.
So
say the words "the purge," Dave.
Dave broke a bottle and then tried to stab me in the neck with it for disagreeing with him. That shows what a reasonable person he is.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that.
But
There's
how
still way too much booze in this.
But
I'm
how
not going to waste that.
perfectly he aligned he is with a Khorne Renegade chapter.
So you got. It moves along a little bit slower there to the Cults and the Conquest. The Cults are trying to expand up a little bit, having been bolstered their numbers by the fact that there's no water, so everybody's turning to the Pauper Princes who are able to produce water magically and save them all.
You get a little gene stealer in you by doing it.
There's a nice little section about Noctilith crowns where they talk about how they get a bunch of slaves to labor away to build these things out of Blackstone Fortress there in front of, for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
And
Chevron 7 engaged.
Exactly.
Got him.
Yeah.
There's a secret 8th chevron that lets him get back to Cadia.
Oof.
Too soon.
Let's just go ahead and play taps right here. That's fine.
So then they reintroduced the Peller, the Gellerpox infected a little bit.
A little bit. It was kind of interesting. They move on to Vile Revelations in Hive Dontaria, where the Purge, the third best chapter, because
Ultramarines are first.
No, of the Renegades.
Ultramarines are first.
Yeah, right.
Of the Renegades?
Yeah.
Okay. So the Purge.
Renegade from popularity. Ooh, burn. But the Purge, they come in.
Savage. So
They shoot some dudes in combat.
They come in, they start fighting, they're laying out
Some sick tracks.
just dropping fat beats.
But yeah,
really good.
The use of the Gellerpox infected here is kind of throughout the book in really subtle ways. There's one where like the little like techno sprite like plague dude is in it earlier.
Yeah, they got one of the guys that's walking around, and when he drips stuff, it turns into a boil and then pops up into a little Gellerpox infected and starts sprinting off around the way laughing.
Like your mom.
Gross.
Yeah.
Weird.
But yeah. Those guys are cool. Like, and I'd just like to take a moment here to talk about how good the story is already. Like, they've done a really good job of kind of like bringing to a close some of the interactions between some of the Xenos and some of the Chaos Forces as well.
They're doing
They're tying up all their loose
fantastic
ends.
job of
all
tying
the
it up.
loose ends,
Except one.
The orcs.
No, we'll get to the end of it, and I'll talk about the one that we know that is a loose end. So the Purge are working on the Hive, and gonna be honest, it's going nowhere for them,
Sure.
because the Gene Stealers still hold it, and it moves on to the Samhain, who have been trying to exact revenge on the leaders of the Hive that called in the Ultramarines to attack the Samhain when they were there to help them in the first place in the first book, and Calgar meeting with them and asking for their help. And it was this they're duking it out in this battle. People are dying. Space Marines are dying. Eldar are dying left and right. And Calgar gets finally face to face with the leader and says, "Hey, listen, I came here just to talk under truce." And the guy's like, weird way of showing that by with
high fives
by
him
trying to
with
purge me.
yeah.
high fives him with the gauntlet of Ultramar and just kills him by accident again.
Brutal.
So he plans this secret plan that that they don't really explain to you. It's like, hey, listen, let's work together. I have this plan. Come with me. We'll talk about it. So they go to talk about it and how they're going to use one of the ships with nobody on it.
Oh yeah.
How are they going to use one of the ships with nobody on it?
They don't tell you in that section. So you move to the next section where Calgar then goes and talks to one of the guys who has 11 bajillion Death Strike missiles, and what I can only imagine is a 2-page nod to Warhammer moderator Vincent Notley, king.
Do you think he's the
father
person on Vigilus who has 2 million Death Strike missiles?
Maybe.
Right. So one of the leaders of one of the hives has a collection of unused and worthless artifacts, supposedly, and among them are 6 Death Strike missiles. Now on the tabletop, as we all know, Death Strike missiles
Amazing, overpowered, undercosted,
Super fun.
are absolute garbage. They look great. They sound great. When they fire, they do great amounts of damage. However, you need turns to get to that. So he has these collection, and Calgar walks in and says, "Hey, tell you what, I need those for something I'm planning, so I'm going to take them." And the guy says, "Oh, I'm sorry, they're antiques and they're worth millions and millions and millions of credits. I can't let you take them. They're part of my collection." And he says, "Listen, if I don't do this, it doesn't matter what your collection is. It's going to die anyway." And the guy's like, "I literally do not give a shit who you are. You can't have them." So Calgar bitch slaps him multiple times and then chokes him out with the gauntlets until he goes,
dude.
"Yeah,
Him and his freaking gauntlets killing people in this book accidentally.
He doesn't kill him. He just holds him. He just chokes him out.
a bitch.
He chokes him out like a bitch, and the guy's like, "You know what? I was wrong. Please take the missiles." So he takes the missiles, and you're like, "What the fuck is he going to do with 6 Death Strike missiles?"
So what you're telling me is that Calgar is a giant fucking bully.
He really is.
And he's kind of a bitch if you
Yeah.
can't kill a dude with fucking power fists as a Primaris.
Or that guy is a badass.
Right.
Oh yeah,
One of those two.
That guy is
That
That
guy
guy
was-
has the highest toughness value of any unit in the game.
Toughness
Did you just
15.
slap me
Road
with the,
Trader toughness 15.
did you just slap me with the gauntlets of Ultramar? I barely felt that.
His close combat attack of embarrassing cry is super effective.
So he takes the missiles and he heads out, and I'm like, at this point I'm reading going, what the fuck is happening? He's got the Eldar on side. He's just bitch slapped. Basically, in my head, it was a company commander. In my head, I know it wasn't, but in my head, I just pictured this company commander with this artillery company and Calgar, and he'd be like, "No, I need these in case I need to fire them," and Calgar just taking them. And so it moves on to the next section where he issues an absolute the ultimatum. Thank you. A challenge, if you will, to Abaddon, where he's like, "Listen, we could fight this out forever.
Fight me, bitch.
It's going to be a stalemate if our forces fight, because I'm just as good
Cometh
as
at
you,
me, bro.
Tactically. So I'll make you a deal. You come down to the planet, you fight me mano a mano. Whoever wins gets the planet." And Abaddon at this point is inside the swirl, which has no, connection to outside stuff. And Harkin gets back to the Vengeful Spirit, who has enough technology to send down a message to say, "Listen, this bitch is challenging you for the planet. We can win right now. Let's do it." And he says, "All right, thanks for letting me use your black hole machine, boys. You all have fun. See you later." And he gets up on the ship, and he makes his arrangements to meet up with Calgar. Now, at this point,
Puts his hair up all nice.
yeah, he's like, "I'm going to
Makes
do
a
this
little
top
ponytail.
knot so nice. Somebody make sure that on switch is on in the middle of my backpack, so I'm good to go." Draken fells the sword. "How are you
What
feeling?"
you don't know is that on-off switch is for his music speakers. So he's pumping out
It's a Steam song.
it's
Immigrant song.
it was probably it's probably Darude Soundstorm. I'm just saying.
Oh yeah, no, that is absolutely the Abaddon's theme.
Yeah,
I would play it right now if it wouldn't,
Totally.
destroy our podcast completely.
I mean, Padupe Man Dorm, I guess is we don't want to say the actual name and get charged for it.
But he challenges him to a fight, one-on-one.
So this particular section this happens in is titled, in fact, Demise of a Legend. And in my head, I was like, what? Are they going to kill Abaddon off here?
Man, he's not a legend. He's a motherfucking
Because at
god.
this point, Calgar has proven that he is, tough as shit against dudes that are lame. And I've seen Abaddon's
Like
previous stats. I've seen Abaddon's stats. He's not great. This was prior to me reading through the new codex, so I didn't know what his new stat line was. But I was like, well, the old one looks like a piece of crap, the metal model. So Calgar's bigger than him.
Calgar can wreck face with bureaucrats and frickin' servitors.
Seriously.
Just bitch slaps him.
So
he's got little man syndrome.
So he sets this up and he gets to this spire and he's basically just up on this platform like, let's do this shit. And Abaddon teleports down, twirling his evil mustache, I'm sure, as the way that it's written.
He doesn't do that anymore.
Just twirls his top note, which is majestic, like a lion.
So he whips his hair back and forth?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So he pops down and it's supposed to be mano a mano and he pops down with Terminators. And Calgar's guys are like, we knew you wouldn't come alone, and stand up and start firing on the Terminators defending him. Abaddon starts making his way towards Calgar. Calgar's just making his way towards Abaddon. And this massive super fight ensues for like one full page. Highlights of which are, as they're trading blows back and forth, Abaddon uses the Claw of Horus to rip off one of the gauntlets completely. And just slices it and rips it right off his hand, off his right or left hand.
He just knocks it right off. He rips
it off, leaving the hand intact because it's the Talon of Horus. So I'm thinking,
killed a Primarch.
He used it like one of the claw machines. He was like, come on, get the Gauntlet of Baltimore. Yes, fucking sweet, drop it in the bucket, I win. And Calgar's like, fucking you take my gauntlet, I'm gonna punch you. So he punches him in the jaw, breaking his jaw with his bare fist. Now when I read that, it took me out of the scenario for a second, because in my head I was like, why wouldn't you, if you could punch him with one of your fists, why wouldn't you punch him with the power fist ones? You've already high-fived and killed a bunch of dudes on your battle barge.
Maybe he was parrying Dracnian.
One hand's for show, one hand's for go.
Thank you.
So he breaks
one hand's
Abaddon's
for show,
jaw.
one hand's for pros.
Yeah.
And
to quote a popular movie.
Witty. Yeah. Abaddon goes mildly berserk at that point and absolutely just whips the ever-loving fucking shit out of Calgar.
Yeah, slices him right up.
Carves him right up, pierces both of his hearts with Dracnian, killing him instantly.
Dracnian's pretty pumped about it.
Where
dies like a bitch for the second time
in
this book.
He's got Calgar by the hair and he's about to completely decapitate him when Harkin
has hair? I guess so.
Yeah, he
okay,
does.
Sorry.
Sure.
Anyway,
the skull plugs.
Yeah. Okay. He's holding his head with the talon.
By the servo skull.
Getting ready to slice his head off to end Calgar once and for all.
Finally.
This man who has died. I don't know if you're keeping tabs back to the 90s at this point in time, but Calgar's actual death total is like 102.
He's a little bitch. As soon as he comes up against like anyone like serious, he dies.
Amazing strategy. Great at strategy. Terrible at fighting.
No.
He throws down. He's getting ready to cut it off with Dracnian. Dracnian's screaming. He's like, I'm cutting off the head of this bitch. It's going to be awesome. When Harkin Woldclaimer's like, hey, boss, guess what? Just kidding. You know how when you teleported down there? Well, it turns out it was a big old ruse. An Eldar ship that was cloaked with 6 Death Strike missiles strapped to it flew into the side of the Vengeful Spirit when we couldn't see it. The Vengeful Spirit is about to blow up, and the captain is taken the fuck out.
Do you know how Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson blew up a helicopter in the movie Furious 7?
Wrench.
He threw a bag of explosives at it and let it blow up when they didn't notice it correctly. At this point, I'm like 200% convinced Marneus Calgar is just Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Okay, first off,
every tactic he's done in this book is something I have seen in a movie starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Do you think that the fluff writer for this book, they were like, all right, you get Vigilus Ablaze, you get this, and he was just like on a Dwayne "The Rock," he was just on the Rock movie marathon on TNT and was like, oh shit, this is good stuff.
No, I think that their partner was like watching their kids or whatever in the background watching the Rock movies, and like they accidentally kind of picked up stuff.
It does explain the Jumanji reference in the next section.
I'm waiting for
I'm waiting for a
finds,
rundown.
Yeah, Calgar
reference.
finds like a little like box game at the end of it.
He's like, that's a lot of cows.
Yeah,
It's,
that is a super specific reference. And I love it. Marneus the Ultra Calgar. So does Abaddon actually kill him like he should?
No, because
properly?
Abaddon goes, I don't have time right now.
Oh,
I
he
have to
did-
get back to the ship. It was literally about to enter warp, so they teleport back out.
He
leaving
did the
behind.
Inspector Gadget thing of curses, Gadget, I'll get you next time,
I think
even though I murdered you.
I think you mean Dr. Claw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they end up taking the planet back, the Imperials,
Yep.
after some fighting. Marneus lives, like, even though he's supposed to die, that Belisarian furnace kicks in. I know, guys. I'm so sorry.
If you're keeping tabs, it's 103 now. He has died and come back to life.
So this is 3 times in 2 books.
Right, and he punches a greater
Bureaucrat.
possessed. No, that happens later. He punches a greater possessed in the face as it's about to kill him, and he like escapes with his life and isn't no longer seen in Vigilus in any kind of combat capacity. He's confined to his hospital bed,
Well, that's
Like
what
a puss.
That's what happens when both of your hearts are cleaved in half.
and one of them is permanently cleaved.
Yeah, one of them could not be repaired. So he's
one down to one heart.
he's only half the Primaris he could be.
They say his heart halved in size that day.
Or at least one of them did.
And yeah, so yeah, they end up taking back the planet.
Vigilus is back. in the
Because they
hands
get
of
it-
the
Yeah, but
Imperium.
it's hot garbage. It's
I mean, they took back a fucking rock with no water, no people, no nothing.
which unfortunately is still the only way through the Cicadrix Maledictum with the Nachman Gauntlet. So
You happy about those pronunciations there? Proud of those?
I'm
going for that.
you know what? I've had a lot of booze this evening. The fact that
fair.
I've been able to say anything is fine.
We're proud of you, Dave.
Yeah, tonight the role of John will be played by Dave.
Thanks, Danny. I did power to. It's been a long 3 days so far this week. I needed that.
So the sororitas come in a bunch of waves of. Oh, sorry, did I skip over
No,
something?
go ahead. You know, you're fine. Yeah, no, that's
So the sororitas come in like in a big, like, hey, look, our codex is coming out next year.
You literally
Let's save
kept
the
that-
day.
That's a high five for that because I literally had that same thought. Like, oh, check it out. This soon to have a codex is coming in.
Yeah,
Awesome.
so they come in and they just clean shop. Like they go through all the cities, they burn out all the Xenos.
They were like, sorry, it took us long to get here. There was a sale at Barney's, half
writer-
off wedding dresses for the
The
Emperor.
writer's typing up Vigilus burns, and they're like, "Hey, Dave, what are we calling those new Serratus units? Oh, we don't have a name yet? The elite Serratus units came down. With their... What guns do they have? We don't know. Powerful weapons.
And so yeah, that's the basic fluff part. And then there's a bunch of extra like filler stuff where it talks about the different hive sprawls and how things are going on.
Does it end with Sisters of Battle will return?
like in Guardians.
End of the Marvel movies.
2020.
Oh,
But I mean,
hilarious.
it's a satisfying kind of conclusion to the Vigilus story.
It is.
Yeah.
It wrapped up really nicely.
Like the Vigilus campaigns, they brought us a pretty much entirely new army and G-Stealer cult. They brought us a bunch of new orc armies and a new orc codex. We got a brand new updated Chaos Space Marine codex
and
with
updated Sisters Codex.
updated Sisters codex with a bunch of new models for Chaos Space Marines. We got a new Marneus Calgar, a new Abaddon. If you look like at the kind of radial evolution of the lines that are mentioned in this book, it's amazing everything that's being released off the back of Vigilus.
I mean, the Lord Discordant is mentioned in this book. He's the guy that's walking around dropping bits of plasma to the ground and summoning up the Geller Pox.
Sure.
His very aura is mentioned to just destroy machines.
Awesome.
Because he's
And my army.
Hey, so
Fact.
one thing that would be cool is why don't we all go around and say what our favorite thing from this book was?
That would be cool. Yeah.
Okay, I'm not starting. I'll go last.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you want to go first? Do you want me to?
Yeah,
Tom?
I mean, I'll go first. I mean, aside from kind of coming to the realization that Marneus Calgar is just Dwayne Johnson, which is my favorite thing to come out of this episode.
It's pretty amazing. It actually makes me want to play more.
I know, right?
Yeah, because I love The Rock.
Yeah, and that's who he is now to me.
Can you smell what Calgar is cooking?
Does he have an albino gorilla companion?
Possibly. I mean, I don't know how. Now I need to paint a Redemptor Dread, not white. But I think
It's rude to call Belial
my favorite thing to come out of both of these Vigilus books, both Defiant and Ablaze, is it gave a really solid look at Genestealer cult tactics and insurgency and
For
how
sure.
they rise up.
and how terrifying it
And
is,
how
right?
terrifying it is, because before anyone even knew that there was a cult, they had infected the planet's water supply. They had got into their government. They had got, I think it describes in this book here that they have like thousands of Imperial Guard tanks, like that, like right away. And just the kind of the way they grow and change. And this is a Genestealer cult in the Pauper Princes that were not ready to show themselves. They were forced to show themselves because of the orcs.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, and they were still crazy efficient at taking over an entire hive.
Yeah. I mean,
I think my favorite part of that was just kind of seeing how those tactics work.
can you
and seeing how they
imagine
grow.
if Marneus Calgar was actually part of the Genestealer cult, how much better the Ultramarines would be? I mean, if they were
I mean,
a
they'd still be
Genestealer
terrible,
cult,
but they would be a little less terrible.
but tactically
Agreed.
wise, they'd be really good.
Yeah. But Danny, what would your favorite part of the
So
Vigilus books
my
be?
favorite part was a little tiny fluff, like excerpt where they say that, like they could only get Abaddon could only get 3 companies of Night Lords to come to the planet, because the rest, like the majority of the Night Lords Legion, were all on Ulthway, attacking Ulthway, which is like, spoiler a little bit if you haven't read the Night Lords book.
Mm-hmm.
Like the end of the Night Lords books is one of the main characters, kind of his like offspring, genetic offspring. Like he's like, all right, yeah, let's go fuck up Ulthway because they killed my dad.
You son of a bitch.
How dare they, Dave? We're back to you. What was your favorite part of the book?
So there was this one little tiny fluff bit that if you're not paying attention, you don't catch, where you find out that the reason he could only get so few Night Lords is because they were off on another planet fighting
a dick.
Ah, you son of a bitch!
Pick something else, Dave.
Honestly, I really liked the fight between the two of them. It was incredibly well written.
Between Calgar
And Abaddon. It shows you that Calgar knew he couldn't beat Abaddon in a fight, but he was still willing to do what it took, which is die.
He's the Stone Cold Steve Austin to Calgar's Rock.
I always kind of
Just
looked
run it
at
there.
as
Hit the
like
code.
Ric
Just run
Flair.
it. Nope, we're ending the episode. Just
Because
end the
he's
episode
old.
Right,
He's from like a previous era
first off,
of wrestling.
do not besmirch Ric Flair. He's not
I'm
that
not.
old. We saw him in Vegas. If you don't remember,
Did. He told us. Did we tell that story?
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes, we
no,
did.
but hey, I'm going to take a break and hear that story.
If you want to hear that story,
And we'll be
subscribe to
right
Patreon.
back.
It'll be there.
No.
If you're in the Anchorage area and need your hobby fix, head on down to Tier 1 Cards and Games. Whether it's 40k, X-Wing, Attack Wing, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Dragon Ball, Pokemon, War Machine, Age of Sigmar, Malifaux, or even Magic, the Gathering kind, not the Siegfried and Roy kind, Tier 1 Cards and Games has the space, the players, and products for you to build your forces and destroy your foes. Not in Alaska? Enjoy our snow suckers. We've got none. And while you're stuck inside, check out Tier 1's live Twitch stream at www.twitch.tv/Tier1Cards. Streaming ITC format, 40K starting at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on the last Saturday of every month.
I will make sure you are no longer on the go-to list. All right, you're
I'm
you're
quarantined.
86th. You are 86th
You're
from my mom's
on
house.
the much smaller don't do list.
Yeah.
It's literally just you.
Yeah, it's you and me.
Did she tell you that I'm on the small list?
That's a different list. You are on that one though.
But yeah, so Vigilus is wrapped up now.
Oh, good. We started. I didn't know.
It's the same as the rest of it.
Yeah,
isn't
it's
it?
the same as the
pretty
rest
much.
of it. I mean, you guys are about the same, whether I tell you we're recording or not. But Vigilus is wrapped up. Coming out of Adepticon next, we're looking forward to, or some of us are looking forward to Apocalypse
Oh
rules.
man, I can't wait to see him.
It should be interesting.
We're looking forward to Yunari rules coming out next month. and
Oh
White
yeah,
Dwarf.
fuck yeah.
You can expect a full episode on that, guys.
The future is bright. Apart from Summer of Sigmar, where we're gonna I don't know.
Okay.
Do stuff.
Sure.
But lots of good stuff coming still. Sisters Battle coming towards the end of the year. We're going to continue to bring you as good a content as we can, which is,
We're doing our best.
No, we really are
we're
not.
bring you some okay content. And then, like I said, by the next time you see us here, I'm sure we'll have more exciting news and exciting things that we get to go over and talk about.
Yeah.
And all that kind of fun. So, yeah, thanks for holding in here. For Mob Rules, I've been John.
And I've been Dave.
I've been Danny.
We'll see you next time-ish.